do whatever you have to do to stop him. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate. He's violent.
Black skin, white mask. Already know that life gets hard. And they say that we're used to the harshness. If it wasn't for the pain, I'd laugh. Truth is, we knew about light before dark. Turned music to art and taught everyone to dance. And still no chance. Freedom must be too much to ask. Bleeding from the ache in my heart. Sometimes I wish it was whites in the middle like France. No, I'm not racist, just jarred. Got hate before bush, not plants. They say we should leave it all in the past, but my brother's still dying on the end, so I can't. So if my attitude stinks, don't ask, cause a hashtag won't help you understand my stance. Fuck a melody, this is real rap if you ever see. Head hot, cause the system won't let me be. Tell me how I thrive in a place that don't cherish me. And they wonder why we all need therapy. Pre the energy, yeah, just another nigga to Penelope. And they don't get it how we bottom of the barrel and still drip sauce on the world, no recipe. Weight of the world on my shoulders, all the pressures in life still tightly holding me. Pour libation for all of the fallen soldiers, but the pain still goes unspoken. They want us to stay broken, never gonna fall, fuck folding. I see my people lost hope, shit, don't you know we all been chosen.
We are oppressed, we are exploited, we are downtrodden, we are denied not only civil rights but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
Forgive me if you don't understand. Sorry, I'm just misunderstood. Punished if I try to take a stand. Meanwhile, my friends dying in the hood. And you can say that we're killing ourselves, but truth is they're killing us still. How you saying Black Lives Matter, but never took a moment to help. Just a trend that you post for yourself. And yeah, it takes a toll on my health, cause I want wealth like everyone else. But it's 10 times harder for me. And they wonder why my brothers put food on a scale. Yeah, when I die, I'll see heaven, that's real. Cause we already living in hell. Wish I could share all the pain I felt. Oh well, I guess I won't speak till my scars do heal. I just wanna be black with a mill. Yeah, that's for every time I had no meals. Cause my mother couldn't keep up the bills. With a handful of kids, no home, just a cell. And I don't care if conscious don't sell. Knowledge brings height to an elf. Went from sitting on thrones to a cell. Been blessed, man, it wasn't by chance we fell. Weight of the world on my shoulders, all the pressures in life still tightly holding me. Pour libation for all of the fallen soldiers, but the pain still goes unspoken. They want us to stay broken, never gonna fall, fuck folding. I see my people lost hope, shit, don't you know we all been chosen.
Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Yeah, this is real life. Kakimi and scare. Real talk. We're coming from the ghetto. Kinondoni, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, mpaka UK. The world finest. Yeah. Pambana kijana. Life is too hard, life is too short. Shao kwa nangu wote ghetto. Usikate tamaa. Jua kwamba ipo siku tutatoboa. Tutatoka. Gang for life.
I am the Trone.
My people, blessed love, yes indeed. We are back with His Time Is Up, Afua Speaks Community Conversations on a Friday night at 9. And I deliberately decided not to do a case today. We've got so much pending in the background, man. It's just crazy. But I deliberately decided not to do that because we need to have a conversation, people. We need to have a conversation as a community. Bless up Grandma Liz, Hurricane Toya, I see you there. Bless up, bless up. I hope you lot have been enjoying the sunshine, because I certainly have. I feel like I'm getting back my Jamaica colour. Been working a lot from home, working in the garden. Yeah, man. I am revitalized, people. Revitalized. The melanin is popping, and we are about to go. Listen, watch this space. I promise you, because there is some serious stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks that we're going to have to be tackling, and we're going to have to be looking at, you know, serious stuff. But before that, I'm waiting for our brother to join us, London Open TV. Right now, I can't see anybody in the Black community that is advocating, no figurehead. There is nobody that is talking on our behalf, and I don't understand why. You know, there were many of us back in the day that used to speak for the issues that pervade amongst Black people, the issues that affect Black people. Many of us, and that generation of speakers are now getting quite old. You know, they're moving on in time. They've done their bit in terms of the elders, and we want to know what is actually happening going forward. There are one or two characters that sort of appeared to take up that mantle. Exactly, Hurricane Toya. Look, the brother's tired, man. He's done his bit. I saw that brother battle for years on the front lines. You know, the man is up in his 60s. He's older than me, and if I'm tired, I know he's tired. And it's not just being tired in terms of being aged. It's tired in terms of the fact that the community is not responding, burnt out. And this is what Black people do to their leaders. They burn them out. There's one that will put their head above the parapet, one that will stand up and be counted, and then they burn them out, either by the fact that there is nobody helping them, that to share that load in terms of leadership, or the fact that the community crucified them. This is what happens. We know only too well. So we don't have a leader. And with all that's going on, I grew up in the 1970s and 1980s in racist East London, and the type of rhetoric that I've seen being espoused this week through the far-right protests and whatever else has been going on is highly concerning for me. Highly concerning. Let me see where this brother's at, because I want to chop it up. He's the only voice, as far as I know. And this brother is a friend of his. Time is up. He's been to our marches. He's always supported the channel. And I like to call him my little brethren, you know. He's only a couple of years older than my oldest, but he's a brother with a deep old soul. And he's advocating for so much in terms of eradicating the slack lyrics in music and so on, you know. Nothing but positivity. All I see around us, people, is negativity. I don't know what is happening. What is going on in the country? First of all, we saw Asians kicking off up north because social services, we already know that social services are taking those children wholesale. It's bad enough what they're doing to Black children, but what they're doing to Asian children and justifying it through their religion, through, accusing the parents of radicalizing their children and so on. It's disgusting. You might remember when we were covering Auntie Lizzie's story about the missing children in Milton Keynes, the stolen children in Milton Keynes. We hooked up with a brother called Rangi, and a powerful brother from those sides, Bradford, Leeds, that kind of area, whose children were also taken. He's been advocating for that for a really, really long time. So we know how that land lies. I've had meetings with people from the Asian community up north, Birmingham and places like that, to discuss what has been going on with child trafficking, because that is actually what's going on. If you speak out too much, they call you a conspiracy theorist. Yeah. And I can't, you know what really gets in my claw is when our people who have been so wronged, who have been so marginalized, abused by the system, are still the ones to stand up and say the same thing. I just really can't deal with it. But before we go there, let's discuss Doreen Lawrence, Stephen Lawrence, Neville Lawrence, and the recent happenings this week, because I got a little bit, it wasn't a lot, but it was a little bit of slack. What do you call it? Stick. That's it. I got a little bit of stick on the page when I posted a picture of his grave and I tagged Doreen. And there's a very good reason for me doing that. So let me take you on a little journey, okay? Hopefully London will join me by the time I've finished this journey. Thank you, Andrew Morris. Is that our Andy Morris? I don't know if it's the same person, but it probably is. If we ain't growing, we are dying. Absolutely. But let me take you on a little journey with my exposure to the Lawrence family. Yeah. Back in 1993, as we know, poor brother was murdered quite brutally. And it was at a time of high racial tension in this country. It was a time of high racial tension. We'd been going through it in the 70s and the 80s coming up. We were only 3 years into the 90s where, change needed to be happening. And then that happens in the middle of all of that. Now, I was already politicized at that point. I was, kind of flouting, or not even flouting. I was, what's the word? I was courting the anti-racist alliance, I suppose, or they were courting me, to be fair. Brother that used to run that wanted me on their side and wanted me to public speak for them around anti-racist issues and so on. And I was a mere little young 20-something at the time. But people wanted me to speak on their behalf. And, I became good friends with a brother called Mark Wadsworth, who ran the ARA at the time. You had people like Lee Jasper, who was in Operation Black Vote. I've told you about my past. You know where I'm coming from. It was that time. Anyway, Stephen gets murdered. The whole place goes up. Everybody wants a piece of the Lawrence family at that point. Yeah. People like the ARA, fringe groups, community groups, everybody wanted to play a part in what that family was going through and vanguard them and represent for them. That was the mood. It was at a time when the Black community was together. It was at a time when, we came together for our causes and we stood up for each other. It was that kind of time. And that's exactly what happened. The youth, which I guess I was sort of representing at that time, I was a young woman, but still young enough to be cast as a youth, I suppose. Riots started. There was a march organized to go down to Eltham in the area where brother had been murdered, because the headquarters of the British National Party at the time, who were a very prominent far-right group, it wasn't EDO in those days, they hadn't even been heard of or invented. It was the far-right BNP, British National Party, and they were getting footings in local government and things like that. It was a really serious time. So the BNP bookshop just happened, the headquarters, take this in, people, the headquarters of the British National Party, which nobody knew it was the headquarters until Stephen was murdered, happened to be in the same area that the brother was murdered. So, of course, marches were organised. There were official banners. We had the Anti-Racist Alliance, which was more grassroots, and then we had the ANL, which was the Anti-Nazi League, which was more kind of bit like Black Lives Matter type of mishmash, like what you see happening now. Yeah, nobody really rated them at the time, but they were there. And there were other banners, but there was also the people. There was also us. I belonged to an organisation at the time. It was just forming. It was called Back to Black, and it was headed up by my ex Vivamun. But we were quite young. I went with some of the comrades from that set to attend the march, not necessarily under a banner. I think I did end up carrying an ARA banner at some point. But in any event, we went there. There was a line of blue officers, blue soldiers, as we called them back then, police officers, in front of the bookshop, guarding it. Now when you look at that, yeah, that's their job. Let them do that. But the problem was, behind that, in front of the bookshop, behind the police lines, were skinheads and racist people, not dissimilar to the ones that we've seen this week, shouting and hurling racist abuse. What we couldn't understand is, why are you guarding them and trying to push us back and allowing them to chant this racist abuse? Yeah? I'll never forget the day. I don't know what it was, but it was sunny 1 minute. The cloud came over The cloud came over and there was a thunderbolt. I lie to you not. Anybody that was there, people like Vonley from Plural and a couple other brothers I was with, bear me witness. The cloud came over. There was a little bolt of lightning. Everyone looked up like, oh, right, is it going to rain? And then kind of realized the moment. It went deadly silent for a nanosecond. And then I just remember looking around. I don't know if anybody else has ever been in the eye of a riot just before ground zero. Yeah, but it's something else. And I remember looking around in a split second and noticing that the brothers had started to put their bandanas on, you know, around their faces. Even the brothers I was with had started to do the same. It was all in a split second, though. You've noticed this. The thunderbolt was gone. A Rasta man has shouted, Jaja, when the thunderbolt has gone up. Brothers have started to mass up, and from nowhere, I just heard coming through the air. I've looked up, I've seen a Molotov cocktail coming over my head and landing right in front of the police, the bookshop, and the racist people then. And then it just went and erupted into a riot, a really serious riot. Stephen was murdered in April, I believe, 1993. I believe those protest riots might have happened around June time, if my memory serves me right. Yeah. I then went off to Jamaica with a friend who was part of that because, listen, it was a riot. I remember having to I just remember having to try and get sisters. Some of them were there with their children in buggies and stuff like that. And I was trying to get them onto a roof of a church to safety. But not every sister can climb. So it was a job. And then there were people coming out of it because it was on a side street, by the way. It was just off Eltham High Street. And people were coming out of their houses with drinks. It was a really hot day. Drinks for the rioters and stuff like this. And then there were other people cussing us. But it was a riot. And the police had no control for a good little minute. So you'd be running around and, you know, you might break away from your main group and you've run down a little side street to try and get somewhere or whatever. And you're encountering 20 strong skinheads coming towards you. And it was mental. Absolutely mental. Yeah. It spilled out onto Welling High Road, I think it's called, or Eltham High Street. I can't remember what it's called. Spilled out onto that. And it spilled out. The McDonald's. I just remember some of the brothers that I was with, one of the brothers particularly that I was with at the time, and a set of other men bursting into a martial arts shop, breaking the windows and taking out the samurais, and they meant business. Now, remember, this is just a mere 8 years after PC Blakelocks has been decapitated at the Broadwater Farm riots. That's the climate we're talking about. I remember we went off to Jamaica after that, managed to make it home after hours of rioting and, you know, trying to keep yourself safe and alive. I couldn't help but think, what the hell are my parents going to say? Because I'd left my little girl with my parents, telling them that I was just going off to some sort of rally. And next minute is we knew it was being televised and whatever. But when I got home with the brother that I was with, who happened to be my god brother actually, my parents were congratulating us. And it was the first time, I knew they were fighters, I knew they were doing what they were doing, but it was the first time that I really saw them support civil unrest. Normally our parents were good for the philosophy, the knowledge, you know, if you need to fight, you go out and fight. But they didn't really like us uprising every minute and rioting, but they were with it. We went to Jamaica, we came back, went for 2 months, I believe, yeah, or maybe even 3. We came back in the October, and at Heathrow Airport, my godbrother was arrested for a fray. I believe he went to prison for that. Yeah, he went to prison for a fray. I see you, London. We'll bring you on in a second, bro. He went to prison for a fray. So it was very personal, very close. Also, I think I've made it clear that there are familial connections with the family as well through my daughter. And the story that I've been told about the night that he was murdered was that, you know, his people, brother, whatever, called for the Mandem. They were in Southeast London. They called for the Brixton family. They called for them. And apparently, you know, there was plans for Brixton man to go and answer that. but Doreen shut it down. Never wanted it. Fast forward, now I don't remember the year. Maybe it was the early 2000s by then, probably late 90s. Cannot remember the year. Somebody get me the year of when they held the inquiry at Elephant and Castle. So the inquiry at Elephant and Castle came up because obviously there was no justice. If I'm not going to get into the story, look it up. It's a very well documented, well-known story about what happened and the fact that people weren't charged and the fact that Doreen Lawrence brought private prosecutions, which was unprecedented, and certainly for somebody from our community was unprecedented. And yeah, she brought these private prosecutions. It ended up in a public inquiry after the Macpherson report that named the police as being institutionally racist. And let me bring the brother on because I don't want you to wait too long backstage, brother. But I'll talk to you in a second, my brother. Blessed love. It resulted in an inquiry at Elephant and Castle. Nini San says she was there. Were you in the chamber, sis, or were you outside? Because let me tell you how it went down in the chamber. So I'm there with nation people, Nation of Islam people. Brother Leo Muhammad, bear my witness. Brother Andrew Muhammad, bear my witness. You were there. Even my mum was in the chamber. My big one, who's now 36, was a little girl in the chamber with us as well. We were there. Yeah. My sister's husband was there as one of the captains in the nation. So Jamie Acourt, it might have been Luke Acourt, but it was one of the Acourt brothers, was on the stand getting twisted up by Michael Mansfield, because it was Michael Mansfield and Imran Khan that were handling the business. Twisted up. It was just such a moment that it was so obvious these guys were lying and that they were over, it was over. And I remember a policeman coming into the chamber room, the inquiry room, which is a chamber with floor to ceiling windows all round, and whispering in the ear of Leo Muhammad, and said something else to some of the other brothers. We later found out that what happened was the police came and called them down and said that there's a altercation at the door with some of your men who are on post at the entrance, the front entrance. When they got down there, nothing was happening. It was a ruse. So they tried to go back in and the police stopped them. Even though the nation people had been invited by Neville Lawrence and the Lawrence family to vanguard the family. I don't believe that Doreen was in agreement to that, but Neville wanted it. And they were invited and they were there in their official capacity. So to call them out of the proceedings on a fake shout and then to deny them entry is provocation. And of course, the brothers, being who they were at the time, stormed the chamber. And that's the only bit you saw on the news, was the man them storming the chamber. You didn't see what caused that. Yeah, they stormed the chamber, came back upstairs and actually stormed the inquiry chamber itself. So I'm just sitting there. Last I know, they've gone outside for what reason, I don't know. We're sitting there. And Brother Leo Muhammad busts open the door like he's kicked it open and stormed in with a line of nation, man, and said, "This is a ruse. This is a sham." And the chamber erupted. Have you ever seen a Rasta man fly? Because from nowhere, some Rasta brother literally flew through the air and pumped Jamie Acourt in the face, or Luke Acourt, whichever one it was on the stand. Never seen anyone like him get spirited away through some next backtrack door. So did the judge. The whole chamber's gone up. It's kicked off outside. Somehow the energy has come outside and the people standing outside waiting for whatever, to see the verdict of whatever. I don't know. There was a lot of people outside. What the people on the news saw was the man them coming out. And after all of that going on in the chamber, the crowd chucking stuff at them and them like arrogantly like giving it large, offering the crowd out. That's what the crowd saw. That's what the news showed. But they didn't show what caused that vibe. You understand? And I was there, live and direct, eyewitness, no second party information. I'm telling you what I saw. So when it kicked off in the chamber, chaos, obviously. I just remember looking around. I remember my mum grabbing my daughter. I remember the nation sisters, including my own blood sister, who was part of all of that at the time, standing up and shouting Allahu Akbar. in the place, which just sort of exacerbated the chaos in a way. You know, it got people excited and it just was kicking off in this chamber. Imagine. Yeah. And I remember looking around and I saw Neville stood by the window, looking out at the chaos that was ensuing in the street in his son's name. And he was nodding with a little smile on his face. And the next minute I knew Doreen had grabbed the mic, gone up front and was screaming at everybody, "This is my son. Get out. How dare you?" And all the rest of it. So now I get that as a mother. You don't want the proceedings disrupted in any sort of way. But what it is, and what I've come to know through many different interactions after that over the years with those individuals, is that one is for the people and one has never been for the people. One did not appreciate the street responding to what happened to Stephen. She didn't appreciate it. Didn't. That's what I've seen. That's my experience. I'm allowed to say what I think of my experience. And it was for that reason that I wanted an answer. Like, well, go on, really? What's happening? And also, the decision to bury the man in Clarendon, I will never forget. When we were able to, it was televised, you know? And when they're bringing Stephen up the rocks in the casket, and you can see the yard man them, his family or whatever, bringing him over the rocks of the riverbed, going up into his burial place. They're pallbearing his body, and they're playing Many Rivers to Cross. Do you know how much of a proud moment that was for my generation of Black people in this country? And the fact that they had made that decision, he will not be buried on English soil. He will not be buried on the soil that racially killed him. So why now, 30 odd years later, is there a decision that doesn't include Neville, who's disagreed with it and come out today that he disagrees with it? Yeah. Why now is it being brought back? London, what do you think? Blessed love, my brother. Blessed love. I'm going to unmute you. Can you unmute yourself, London? He's gone for a bit of a... You've probably got to make a drink or something. He thinks I'm still rambling on. There you are, my brother.
No, I was listening. I was just attending to my boy.
So I was going to say, what do you think? Like, some might say it's Doreen's personal choice. I get all of that. But we have to accept with a case as big as this, with the magnitude of the story, the experience, the knock-on effect it had for the Black community in terms of laws being changed or recognition that the police were institutionally racist. You have to say that this actually, the story belongs to the community, does it not? As well as the respect for the woman's privacy. I get all of that. But some things are just bigger than your privacy.
I would say if Stephen had children himself, I would understand. Oh, they want to bring it back for his children to see.
Right.
To be, but for the mum to do that after all this time, in this week, in this strong, I don't get it. It doesn't. The math ain't mathing. You know what I mean? In that's in the country at the moment, yeah, you're deciding to bring him back. Obviously, what's going to happen? They're going to bring him back. His gravesite, something's going to happen to it. It's obvious. It's graffiti. There's going to be some form of disrespect. 100% that's going to happen. Anyone could see that from a mile off. You know what I mean? So why would you do that? And obviously it's going to cause a racial uprise or stir. There's going to be some form of chaos out of this. And I don't understand. You laid him to rest in Jamaica for a reason. And you both agreed to that. Why change it now? It's weird. It don't make no sense to me.
Makes no sense to me. And, you know, I just remember the memorial, even before it was an official memorial, being desecrated time and time and time again. And since it's been an official memorial, the spot where he fell in Eltham, it's been desecrated consistently, you know?
Yeah.
So to me, I get, you know, like, I get it. I do get it to some extent, but I don't believe that his mother does not think practically. I don't.
And for the dad to come out and say, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Sorry.
For the dad to come out and say he disagrees, that makes it worse to me. Why not? His dad's in Jamaica, right? Still, his dad's retired in Jamaica, if I'm
His
correct.
dad went back to Jamaica, yeah.
Long time ago. So why would you move it from a place of comfort where his dad is? Why unrest him after all these years? It don't make no sense. You know what I mean? I can't. The only thing I could think of is, remember, she's in the House of Parliament now, you know. But at the same time, like you said, Afua, like, who knows, innit? She just might want him closer. The dad might not be attending to the grave site, might not be looking after it. She might be like, I left him there. You don't look after it. You don't even wash his headstone. Who knows what's really? There could be so much isms and schisms behind it while we're saying this. You understand?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. But what we're doing is just, we're just running conjecture, my brother. That's what we're
yeah,
doing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because yes, it could be as simple as that. But when you put all the pieces together, when you put all the pieces together, and then you look at the timeline of events. So after the kickoff, obviously Doreen kept fighting for justice and whatever. It wasn't long after all of the kind of high points of everything that was going on, when it was 93, 94, 95. It wasn't long after that it was announced that they were getting divorced. He went back to Jamaica. She continued and stayed here fighting and doing her thing. My opinion, and it is just an opinion, is that one wanted to approach things one way and another one wanted to do it through the system. And once brother was out the way, it was very quick. The ascent. Sister is not in the House of Parliament. She's higher than that. She's in the House of Lords.
wow.
That's where she is. You understand me? And she became Dame Doreen Lawrence, didn't she? So I've got some questions around that, even in my mind. We're going to delve into areas that would be considered conspiracy theories to the unawakened and the wider mainstream media. We're going to delve into that tonight, my brother, because there's a lot going on in our community. Even what we talk about, what we specialize in, if you like, in His Time Is Up, child trafficking, child sexual abuse, whatever. There's stuff going on with that right now as we speak in our community that actually isn't necessarily intergenerational, interfamilial like we normally expose, but there's other aspects of that. Our children are being taken into these rings wholesale. Not every little brother that goes missing has gone country and is being sold out by his own people to go and sell drugs. That's a myth. And to be honest, you know the streets, London, probably better than I do. But one thing I do know is that a lot of the brothers that are involved in trafficking children up into country to go and sell drugs will more pick on a little young, naive white boy that ain't really about it because he's easier to control.
Not really. The reason why they'll stay away from white youths is because the law will be heavier on them. Like, it is young black youths. Black youths will go for young black youths. I don't really, what I've seen anyway, I've never seen man them like look for a white youth to do, maybe to carry a thing
I feel like
across
in
the road.
South it's like that.
Yeah.
But I know
Maybe to carry a thing across the road. Yeah, but to go OT, I see what you're saying. Probably in other ends it might be different, innit? But I'm saying for what I've seen, like, man will avoid doing stuff with white youths because the police might move a bit harder. You know what I mean? Like, man will avoid the white youths because at the end of the day, you might get into you're more likely to get messed up if you fuck with them than the black youths, because the no snitching culture is heavy in our thing, innit? Like, the youngers won't snitch on you. Like, the white youth could just snitch on you, then go live in Scotland. You know what I mean? With his white family in Scotland. So I think that thing's died out, like the whole white youth thing, using them.
I think it is different in different areas.
Yeah, facts.
It is, because I know that I've seen it in areas where are probably less populated with black youths and they mix more than maybe South London, where it's all black youths, in their direct vicinity. I've seen them target those kind of youths, and especially where I live. Do you understand what I'm saying? Which is out of London. That's what I see. You get what I'm saying? So
now, for real, the area's got more white youths. Yeah, then they will be used as well. Facts.
They will
100%.
be used as well. And the rationale that I was given for that is that, well, they're just easier to manipulate, the black youths. You know, some of them get a little bit wise when they're on these missions, don't they? And
Or they want to
it
set
depends.
you up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the perception, you know. But you know, let's get back on topic really, because I seriously believe that there is a silent warfare taking place on black youth in London. This level of violence and knife crime, youths in general, to be fair, and I don't think that it's not like America where you can actually separate them and assault them as a separate group. In England, if you're going to get to black youths, you've got to get to all youths. That's what I believe, because they're just too intertwined. You understand? Every single black culture, Afro-Caribbean, African Caribbean culture, whatever, has become youth culture in the UK. That's it, standard. You know, it has become youth culture. It's expressed in the music that all young people listen to, the way they dress, the way they speak. You know, I've never seen so many non-Afro-Caribbean young people using patois terms and then mixing that with Arabic terms. So they'll say blood clot and
Wallahi and Aki.
wallahi in the same breath.
Yeah, and the stuff for Allah. Yeah, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. Yes, it's heavy right now. It's heavy right now. The patois and the Arabic.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is that whenever there's a movement for change in our community, it becomes usurped, infiltrated. They take the stars, the standout people of those movements, and they turn them. This is what happens. I've seen it time and time again, right down even into my own bed. You understand?
Yeah.
I've seen it time and time again. So I'm saying, let's put our head above the parapet, because the people that say that they're out there to really represent the black community, the grassroots man, the man on the street, the man on the road, they're towing the line. They're all part of the same cabal and club. And we've seen that recently with the local elections and certain people standing for Croydon. These people ain't about the people. They're not about the people, London. Do you understand? So I'm saying, like, who are these people in the club that are trying to stitch up an organic revolution? Because the spirit of people is waking up, you know. The spirit of people wants a change. Do you understand? They're willing to stand up, but most people, as you know, aren't willing to put themselves forward, London, like you or I. You understand?
And then when you put yourself forward, and like how you have, you'll be doing the most, you'll be targeting the most vulnerable in our community to help them, then people be on you more than people that's promoting the demise of our community, instead of someone that's trying to eradicate child abuse basically in our community, rather prosecute her than people but make up excuses for people doing the fuckery. I don't get it. It's weird.
And allow pedophiles to try to prosecute me as well. I mean, what the hell?
Exactly. I understand some people. Some people, it's just a like, oh, that's my uncle. I never saw him in that light. You understand? I never saw that side of my uncle. The life of my uncle was always good, but it don't mean that your uncle wasn't capable of that. You understand?
Absolutely.
Like what I'll say to those people, look your uncle in the eye, whoever had your uncle, look him in the eye and ask him those questions, and go with your gut feeling, innit? You know, them is there, but people won't even want to ask them uncomfortable questions to their family. That's the thing, you know. But the truth will come out, and they will see, and some people will still stick to their guns just for the point of ego. You know what I mean?
I just think that I've been saying it, and I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash, but I don't care. I think that the Black British diaspora are the most asleep, unawakened set of Black people in the whole diaspora. They're the most apathetic, the most inactive, you know? And to be honest, they're not the most asleep mentally. They know it. Oh, they're great for a good debate. They're great for that. Great for a little platform and a shout out. Do you understand what I'm saying? But they do sod. And then you've got the flip side with the Americans, who are not always particularly woke. They kind of appear to be, because they've sent out so many woke leaders to the world or to the diaspora. you understand what I'm saying? But if you look at the rank and file common person on the road, they're not woke at all. But what they are is active. They ain't got to be woke. They just got to hear the cry of their people, and they're gonna rally and come and answer the cry. You understand?
Yeah.
What we do, we chat a lot and do sod all. That's what happens. You understand?
Yeah.
I, for one, have had enough. Anyone who knows me knows that I will never be looking to spend my last days here. You understand what I'm saying? My parents went back to Yard in 93, and I would always want to be following their lead to be getting out of here, whether it's in Jamaica or Africa. So with all that's going on, is it safe for Black people to be in this country right now? That's what I want to know.
It's a tricky one, you know. It's a tricky one. I think to an extent we are. To an extent we are. But what we have to talk the thing, innit? What the problems with us, we don't have a common ground. Okay, we don't have to come on. So other races will have a religion that they're all in sync with. Us now, some men are Muslim, some men are Christian, some men are Voodoo, some men are this, some men are that. So there'll be two denominations in other countries. There'll be Muslim and Christian, but with us, we got Muslim, Christian, Rasta, this, that. There's no common ground to come together on no more. Everyone's just scattered all over the place. That's why it's dangerous for us, because we don't have a common ground to come together on. That's what it seems like. Apart from that, we're Black, and that's not enough for people now. Because, like, say for instance, brothers that are Muslim, they're not on the pro-Black thing.
No,
because they
not at all.
They'll rather be for their thing. I understand, but at the end of the day,
I don't get it. I tell you why I don't get it, London. I don't get it because, number one, how are you becoming Muslim before you're becoming Black? Number two, although you say, and I understand in the doctrine, that it is not Islamic to mistreat people or take them as slaves or do whatever has been done in the name of Islam. I get all of that. If you read the Hadith, you go into Quran, yeah, it does promote that in places, but they try to justify it with all sorts of rhetoric. Okay, I get all of that, right? What I'm saying is, with that being said, how can you be Muslim before Black when you see so much atrocities playing out in key places, key Islamic centers around the world, like Kuwait, like Iraq, like Dubai? You understand?
Yeah.
Like Saudi Arabia itself, and see African people being in modern day slavery, and you're not shouting up and saying, "Not in my name." I don't get that. But yet you see Black people screaming under the green, the red, and the white flag.
I was just going to bring that up, you know.
I'm really sorry, but no.
I was just going to bring that up. Like, me personally, I ain't got a problem with people coming out for Palestine. But Nigeria right now, I've done a post about it today, is in disarray. People are out there going against the government because they don't have no food in their fridge and the government stole all of their money. No platforms are posting about it. But Black people, when I went to the Palestine protest, there was bare Black people there. There was bare Black man there that weren't even Muslim. There was Christian Black man there, everything. No, I believe in free Palestine. I believe in free Palestine, but I also believe in free, but I believe in free Africa. First, I believe in free
Congo right now.
Free Congo.
Free Mali, Burkina Faso.
And my thing is, Black people, we always stand up for everybody. We do this. We stand up for everybody. Look I said to someone the other day, the most open religion I've come across, or religious belief or way of life, is Rastafari. Rastafari has always been preaching unity amongst everybody. Everyone else will say, we're better than them, we're better than them. But Rastaman will tell me, no, we're all the eye. We're all the eye. You understand? So we've been advocating for unity and peace for how long? And these people still don't stand up for us. If we had a protest for Nigeria tomorrow, how much Palestinians are going to come out for us?
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And people say, oh, that don't matter. Why are you watching that? It does matter. It does matter. Because sorry, got you.
No, I was going to say, and what a lot of people don't realize, if you trace back far enough, what they call Palestine today is Northeast Africa that was separated from the mainland of Africa by a man-made canal commissioned by the British called the Suez Canal. And that's because they wanted to lock off the oil in Northeast Africa. You go back far enough, especially into biblical times, and that whole region is African anyway. Do you
Yeah, because
understand?
there's
Let's
no
begin
such
at this
thing as
point.
Middle East. Yeah.
No such thing as Middle East. So the land that they're talking about, that Palestine and Israel, Ashkenazic European Jews are fighting over, belongs to Africa anyway. So the
Yeah.
Bible says, what will the keeper of the vineyard do when the owner returns? My brother.
And my thing is to point out, because I hear a lot of Muslims online when that thing happened at the Olympics and people were saying, oh, Christians are weak at the moment. No, no, no. Christians and Muslims are weak. The human race is weak at the moment. This is what people don't understand. When I'm getting at Muslims or Christians, it's both of the same thing. Both are weak at the moment. That's how I see it. Christians are weak. The human race is weak at the moment. That's why the system's taking so much advantage of us. You understand? Because how can Nigeria be so broke, but so rich? Nigeria can feed the whole world for 10 years alone. How could Nigeria be in the position that it's in? You understand? It don't make the maths ain't mathing, but no one don't want to stand up for it until Black Lives Matter come out or something. Like
With the pansies and the plants and the handlers that they send to infiltrate our organizations and our communities and our leaders. This is what they do. You know,
yeah.
don't think you're ever going to see an organic leader stand up, rise up in the community, and they're not sending the agents for that person. You know, as much as even being able to marry that person. That's how deep the agent's assignment will go. You understand?
Yeah, do you know what's crazy? What you said there.
And people say,
Sorry. The other day, what you said there about marry is deep because I was watching something last night about Nipsey Hussle and Lauren London. They were saying that she was sent to marry him to destroy him. You understand? And when you check up the history, you'll be like, oh shit, this is mad. Has she frozen? She's frozen. See, I can't even see the comments to say, can you still see me? Frozen.
oh my gosh, let me try and get London back on. I think I'm back. We had a bit of a glitch and internet connection was lost. Let me try and get London back, guys. Oh my days. Right in the middle of the thing, you know. Lord have mercy. Guys, honestly, put up a 1 if you can hear me, yeah? I don't know what is going on, but the internet, it keeps saying no internet connection. Yo. Yo. Brother's going to try and make his way back in. Okay, put up a 1 if you can hear me now. All right. Right, let's see if that is able. 1 second. Should be able to get the brother back on now. All right. I think we're back in business, bro.
Okay.
I think we're back in business, yeah. You see how we're reliant on this internet, though? That's my head in. Honestly, we need to find a way to generate this thing without them, the system. There is a them and us. Would you agree? There is a them and us. There's we, the common people, and there is an elite set of people who allow common people to join them in various capacities, and they are not in the best. They don't act and operate in the best interest of the masses. It's as simple as that. And that's the simplest, most non-confrontational, non-controversial way that I can put it. Do you understand what I'm saying? There is an us and them. It's as simple as that. So where do we fall as a community, as a subcategory in the them or in the us? Where do we fall? What is our role in the whole? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Kind of. You need to
have a role. If there's an us and them, if the elite are against the masses anyway.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Where do we fall in those masses?
We're the entertainment, we're the distraction, we're the Olympians, we're the rappers, we're the singers, we're the distraction. At the moment, that is our role, is the distractions. Via cartel, whole world's gone mad, fainting. But Africa's starving, Nigeria's protesting, nationwide protests because they don't have food. But people in Vice Cartel more who just bleached out the country, got all the Jamaican girls on ucking, and all nastiness, freaky, kinky stuff, and he's supposed to have killed the person anyway. But we're celebrating that. We're weird. I'm done. We're weird. I'm going to live in Poland. I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm done. We just love badness. It's going to take another 100 years. It's going to take another 100 years before we're fully awake. You know what I mean? Or whatever you want to call it. But
you know why I don't think maybe 100 years? I'll tell you why. Because actually the state of us would suggest that, it's going to take 300 years to get us together, right? Another 300 years of slavery, 400 years. But the reason I don't believe that is moving me on to my next thing that I wanted to talk about tonight. We're about to go into World War III. And if it's one thing that will shake people to the foundation and shake them out of their sleep is war. And I don't mean war that we can watch on the telly from a distance. I mean real war. Never before since the Blitz in the Second World War has there been any threat to these shores in the way that it is now. And I can see exactly almost a carbon copy of all the players moving into position. You understand? Just take China out of it because they weren't in the last one. But all the other players were. And it's all getting to crescendo. Meanwhile, we are dancing and gangster rapping and stabbing and raving and raping our way through our own community when war is on our doorstep. What do you think that's going to look like in this country when that war licks? Like, what's it all going to look like? I don't think they're prepared for it, my brother.
No, not mentally, not physically or spiritually. I think it, but I do think, is that what we need as a human race sometimes? It's just, is it just a cycle that the world needs that now? Because we're all so messed, we're all so caught in the matrix that it seems like it has to go that way. Whether it's us uprising and bringing shit down ourselves or bombs dropping, whatever way it goes, it seems like it has to happen. How chaotic the world is at the moment. You know what I mean? But as black people, we're messed anyway because we don't have no army, we don't have nothing. So we're gonna have to fight for Britain. We're gonna have to fight alongside Tommy Robinson.
No. We're gonna have to fight. I can't see brothers enlisting, for the British Army. What's going to happen is that super prison complex they're building is going to get rammed very quickly. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, true. There's that side
You
as well.
understand me? Can you really see it? And quite right too. Why should we, the sons of Windrush immigrants, the sons and daughters of Windrush immigrants, fight for this country after the way that our parents and us have been treated in this country?
Yeah.
Why should we? We need to be running and defending our own lands, who they're going to drag into the war as fodder.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do. And you know, like how you see mercenaries leave England from the Muslim community and go and fight in Syria. We need to be thinking about that, London. That's what I'm on.
No, same. That makes so much sense. Like for me, like some African brother said it perfectly the other day. He said he hates when he sees like Nigerians in England and America when the football's on the Olympics put up Nigerian flags. He's like, bruv, come and struggle with us here. Why are you over there for? Come with us. But you want to claim you're Nigerian and all of this. And you know, like you hear certain people online, even like Shaka Bar, certain people like defend Africa's poverty. They say it's not that poverty. There's some nice buildings down in Africa. We have some built up cities. Allow me. Africa's a mess. Africa's a mess. You understand? And it's like some people get defensive over, oh, you've never been to Africa, so you don't know. Bro, you acting like I ain't got African people and African family around me. You understand? Like it's a mess. We don't, you know what I mean? We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have electricity still cuts out, fresh running water, all the little things. So how can you say it's good?
Yeah.
For the rich, it is everywhere. For the rich, it's good.
A beautiful palatial house I did in Africa. Lovely house, beautiful land around it, whatever. But when the light and the electricity gone, that's you. It doesn't matter if you're in a big house. Do you understand what I'm saying? Some people have generators, yes, I get that.
Yeah.
But that's a very few. And not only that, once you leave your yard, you've still got the problem. You know, we had when we were in Tanzania, we had this massive flood. Yeah, because it was rainy season and it just went mad. Massive flood. We had a generator in our yard. We were able to power the yard for light, but the internet was still down. So that was no fun. You know what I'm saying? And then when I had to go to the supermarket, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was disgusting. I had to literally swim through sewage water and all kind of madness. And I had to kind of just bite the bullet because I don't like crowdy things. And I thought, bloody hell, I'm in Africa. I'm gonna have to adapt today because my children need food. And out of necessity, with my driver, I had to swim through this thing. I was going, my brother. And that was somebody who lived, that was me living in a very posh and rich neighborhood. The street was impassable. We don't have these issues here because there's infrastructure, like you said. But I say we know what the we know what the climate is. We know how we've been robbed. We know how we've been pillaged. We know why there are corrupt leaders in all of our countries. We know who they are. They're all part of the club too. So isn't it for us to go back and start to sow those seeds and build that infrastructure and do the things that we're supposed to be doing?
Because like I think we were speaking on it before on the phone a couple of days ago. Like our grandparents or whatever, your parents, whatever it is for you, whoever came here, didn't come here to stay here forever. That happened by accident. You understand? They're supposed to be here for like 5 to 10 years. But we stayed here. That's the problem. You understand? We didn't go and rebuild up our thing. That's why Jamaica's still a mess. And to me, I talk about Nigeria shouldn't be a mess. Jamaica's a small island, but it's so influential. The whole world's based around it. It seems like for some reason. Yeah. Why is it still broke? Or mess? There's always going to be poverty. There's always going to be poverty in some elements of a country or island. But the extreme poverty in Jamaica don't make no sense either. You know what I mean? Something's holding it down, something's suppressing it, and it does feel spiritual. It does feel like the Hebrew Israelites say, like, it's because we lost our way with God. And to me, Vice Cartel shows that the idol worship is bigger than the God worship.
Yep.
By a mile off. And some people might say God's the problem, religion was the problem, da-di-da. That's debatable. You know what I mean? That because it's funny enough, I was at the I went to that protest the other day, but I got there late, so there was a few of them like British patriotic type of people. But I met a young boy, he was like 20. He said he's willing to like come on these shows and discuss. You'd be a wicked person to talk to. But he made a point when he was arguing with someone, he was like, hold on, you lot got all those minerals and stuff there. You don't know how to utilize them. It's your fault, mate. And I thought to myself, how can we argue with that? There's something that we're missing in history. Why we're not utilizing our own thing? We got all the resources in the world, but we're still a mess. How? It just baffles me. And no one.
We know how it's all by design. You know what? I've just found, and I've been looking for it for a while. I didn't realize somebody had uploaded it onto YouTube. But what's going on now, it always has echoes for me of a speech that Louis Farrakhan made. This is when I was pretty much a fan of his. Anything after this, I ain't really down with Farrakhan. Let me tell you that for nothing. You understand what I'm saying? And every nation man that knows me knows that. But not least because of the way that he treated my teacher, who you will see standing behind him in the background in the clip that I'm about to show, right? Bear with me because I need to find the actual point in it. I hope I am, because it's a 2-hour tape, yeah? And it's a speech that Farrakhan made at the LA Forum in 1985. And he describes exactly what is happening right here, right today in the UK. And the plan, the design that they're going to have going forward. Do you understand?
Yeah.
This is in 1985, the same year that the youths of Broadwater Farm decapitated PC Blakelock. This is all interconnected. Hear what I'm saying?
Did you say 1985?
It's 1985, the LA Forum, 1985.
Okay,
I've just read
yeah.
it, so I'm going to try and find the point where he
That was the year
describes
before I was
what's
born.
happening. Is that the year before you were born? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember at the time it was on VHS video, this speech, and it was such hot property amongst people like myself, Afrocentrics, Pan-Africanists, whatever, the knowing community, those who are woke, those who are seeking knowledge. You have to remember our revolution started with a revolution of internet, of knowledge. We're seeking books. You didn't have YouTube to upload video to tell you nothing. You understand what I'm saying? You either had to go and sit down on a chair.
Do you know, on that note, let me just interject a second. You see what you just said there? We had to search for knowledge. When I first came into knowledge and that, when I was 16, 17, and I was going to the Dr. York classes in Brixton and all of that.
All right. That would be your generation. Yep. Dr.
Yeah,
York.
man had to search for these knowledge. You see what's happening now? Do you remember that Christian song? He's got the whole wide world in his hands. We've all got the whole wide world in our hands now. That's the biggest problem. Is this thing that we're on? That's one of the biggest problems, because they create algorithms that everyone follows and everyone's on the same, paying attention to the same thing while they're doing that over there. It's just so easy for them to separate us and control us now because of this. I swear down, if the internet went down for 6 months, the world would change straight away. It'd be a beautiful place.
100%.
People start communicating with all that. Yeah, we'll get back to basics. That's what I say when our boss. The only way out the matrix is getting back to getting back to the basics. That's the only way when you really think about it. Like, because all the technology, how's things getting worse? How, when our elders came here, was there more unity than now? When we're supposedly got more money. You see what I'm saying? We're supposedly more comfortable, got more money, more smarter. There's more of us, but it's not better. It don't make no sense. So,
absolutely, my brother. It's a question of, well, is it money that fuels the success of a community, or is it morals? That's what I think. Because we got more money, but we got less morals. And that's why we're seeing the urban decay that we're seeing within the community. Do you know what I mean? Oh God, I hope I haven't been lost again. Have I lost you again? Can you hear
Yeah, I can hear you.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, here we are. I'm going to attempt to find it, but I don't know. Yeah, I got it. I'm going to attempt to find it, but boy, it's a 2 and a bit. But I want to try and find it. Bear with me. Turn your camera off for me a minute, London. Yeah, because this is a discussion point. Turn your camera off for me a minute, and I'm going to try and find it. Honestly, it's a bit mad. Bear with me, people. Let's try and do this. All right. But I remember the way that this VHS video was coveted, and it went from hand to hand. Do you know what I mean? And you kind of like, if you didn't have it, then you really wanted it. It was a bit like chasing a dub plate or something at the time, you know. And it was we'd invite our friends round to come and watch it and have a little movie night with that. You know, your mates would come round and you bun the weed and there's snacks and whatever, and everyone's sitting down watching LA Forum, Farrakhan, or watching Khalid Muhammad, or that was the climate, my brother. That's what a lot of us were doing. So let me try and find it. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Try and find the actual clip, like the bit. I don't remember if it's in the beginning, the middle, or the end, but God knows I'm going to try. All right. This is he. Very old tape.
You have heard so much about him, but in a few minutes you're going to hear from him. There have been those who said that this meeting this evening was dedicated to hate, but I don't feel anything like hate this evening. All I feel is wall-to-wall, wrap-around love. There's not going to be any trouble tonight, because we're just good brothers and sisters in love with one another. And we're in love with Minister Farrakhan. It's not going to be any trouble tonight, because the haters are on the outside. Who in the last days of the world would be brought out of their native land and people into a strange land to suffer and be afflicted for 400 years. Now the Jews say that is themselves biblically, and we know historically that John Hawkins, an English slave trader, brought our fathers into America in the year 1555 on a ship named Jesus. Now, the Congressional Library in Washington bears witness that our first fathers that came to America, they were not animists. They were not people of strange religion. They believed in one God. From our sojourn in America, we could be a blessing to the entire continent of Africa. In the society, they come with a solution to the problem that 400 years of America's racism has committed. But this is designed this way, brothers and sisters. Right now, mothers, your sons are joining the armed forces, not because they're necessarily patriotic, but because it's the only place they can find gainful employment. They don't want to go into crime, so they go into the army. You call me anti-American, Mr. Duke Major. I'm a greater American than you do. For you would go along with the government's unjust policies and open not up your mouth for political purpose. But I will speak against the injustice of America, because any man that dares to challenge the injustice of a nation is a man that saves the life of that nation. But those of you who go along with wickedness for the ride because it's politically expedient, you are the worst enemies of America. Go ahead. I am not Orion was not the Messiah. Gold that you could not wait. Therefore, you marshal your own forces to steal land from the Palestinians. Now, I'm not asking you Negro leaders to back me up. Farrakhan is doing the talking. So therefore, you can disassociate yourself from this portion of my speech. But you cannot say that I have lied. I'll offer my life to all of you for your life if you prove me a liar. And that I know you cannot do. So when you repudiate me tomorrow morning, which you have already planned to do anyway, I shall stay around till after your press conference, and I will deal with what you say. Go ahead. This is my position. You heard it from my mouth. You don't need the press to filter what I say. You heard it from my mouth. Don't I have a right to take a position that is contrary to the popular version of what is truth? Don't I have a right to criticize Jewish behavior if I think it is incorrect? Don't I have a right? Then if I have that right and I take that right, then shut up. I will take the consequence. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted us to separate in a state or territory of our own, but let's be reasonable. I guess we can get on to the economic thing. Now, here's how we do it. Then Arab merchants came in. Many of the Palestinians, he's trying to prop up both of them, but it's too late. It's too late. Well, if all the countries of the earth are trying to fight for their natural resources, what do black people have? We have no oil, no gold, no coal, no diamonds. We don't have any earth. But you know what we got? We got a wealth of talent, creative genius, that we don't control even that. Here's Hollywood, all our black artists. They're in control by somebody else. They write the script, you play the part. If they want you to play a prostitute, even if you don't want to play a prostitute, you just want to work, here you go whoring again. Publishing. The biggest black business we have in America is Johnson Publishing, that produces Ebony and rotating at least 3 times in our community before it goes. If we can keep it going 3 times in our community, I can see Jim saying, I think I need my power deodorant. Each other. When you carry that into business, you got people who will come to you. Off in a reservation, made treaty after treaty with them, and broke every last one of them. Look now. Now, the whites have taken the land, and they, by default, they have abused the land. One didn't fully cultivate it, and the other abused it. Now, it's time that it revert back into the hands of its original owners. Now look, the Chicanos, where are my Chicano brothers and sisters? The Chicanos owned a very large part of this because the Indians and the Chicanos are really family. That's family there. And now, what has happened is the Chicanos have been pushed out of the Southwest. And they're now down into what you call Mexico. But when you talk about Mexico, you're talking about California. You're talking about a lot of these states here, Texas, Arizona. See, all of this, you see, y'all took white folks. Your parents took. And it bothers me when I fly into Arizona and New Mexico, I see all these Indian names, you know, as reminders of what you did to them. And then you mock the Indians. You don't respect their religion. You silly Christian. I'm not talking about the followers of Jesus Christ. I'm talking about these people who, in the name of religion, become imperialists, only they do it under religion. Religious imperialism. You come to the Native Americans and you come to the Chicanos as though they have nothing of value. You must civilize the heathens. While these people have something that you yourself could learn from if you only were humble enough to sit among them as we have done and learn some of their ways.
Farrakhan now sits among the Indians. I learn from them and I impart to them because while you busy calling me every name in the book, I'm working on my mission. And my mission is to unite the tribes that are lost. And so today, Christians are together with Muslims. And Muslims of every persuasion are breaking down those barriers, coming back together again. Now the Chicanos and the Indians, they are coming together. And the tribes are hooking up. Next year, the government of America has declared and already taken the Navajo reservation, belonging to the Navajo and the Hopis in northern Arizona. The last area in America where there's oil, gold, coal, uranium, they just took it. See, I'm saying this, press, I want you to hear me. When the young generation of whites stand back and allow the government to take the last bit of land from the American Indians, how then can you in this generation say you are any better than your fathers who took the whole country from them? Listen. So what we have proposed through power is, I'll say this first. Next year, the government said they're going to move the Indians off the reservation. Well, I'm going to say this to America real quick. If Allah spares my life to next year this time, and I believe He will, I'm going to tell you what Elijah Muhammad told me. He said that America would not kill more than 300 of the righteous. And if she killed 300 of us, Allah will kill all of them. Now, I'm willing to give my life. I'm looking for 299 more that will give their life to end this whole system of man. And if we are willing to die, we are not willing to die alone. Oh, America, as your enemies mount against you on the outside, you cannot stand revolution on the inside. Oh, America. It is the time of sacrifice. Yes, we will spend our money with our own, and we will spend our lives for our own. We will not go to Nicaragua. We will not go to Africa to fight to keep Botha in power. We will not go to the Middle East to fight to keep Israel there. We will not go to Europe unless America herself is attacked. You will not use black bodies anymore to die to keep rich white people oppressing black people. Your day is over. And so, beloved, the American Indians must become productive. Oh, America, Then, I want you to prepare your minds for this, because next year, when they come to move on the Indians, we'll be right up there on the reservation with the Indians. Now, you can bring your tanks and your planes. But I'll tell you, when we move to that reservation, you better think several times before you come. Because, brothers and sisters, the Indians and the blacks and the Chicanos and the Puerto Ricans, we are going to reach out and hook up all the oppressed to stand against the tyranny of America. If America wants to save herself, leave the Indians alone. Look here. If America wants to save herself, leave the blacks alone. If America wants to save herself, help South African blacks to get their liberation. Oh, America. We intend to force you to make a decision, because we cannot live like this any longer. We would rather be dead than to live as niggers, as poor junkies and nothings in this world. And if we are willing to die, we are not willing to die alone. Oh, America, as your enemies mount against you on the outside, you cannot stand revolution on the inside. Oh, America. Family, if we help to develop gold in Africa, they did the same thing to Jesse. In the name of God, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is opening the eyes of the blind, making the dumb, I won't even open my mouth. Because it ain't my trial. It's yours. It's yours. I am your last chance. I'll say it again. I am your last chance. You backed up the killers and deporters of Marcus Garvey and his movement. You backed up the destruction of Noble Drew Ali. You backed up the destruction of all your leaders and your organizations. Now God gives you a brother. You know I'm your brother. And you know if I feared for my life, I wouldn't stand and speak as boldly as I speak. Gaddafi loaned me $5 million, a loan that I have to pay back. No strings attached. You want to paint me as a revolutionary that wants to be a terrorist in America. You are already terrorized. I have not thrown a Molotov cocktail, but it's the fire of the truth that manifests your wickedness and your hypocrisy that you fear coming out of my mouth. So the die is set. And let me tell you what is written. It is written that all of you leaders would join with the enemy against a modern Jesus in your midst. And you are joining with the enemy now. But let me remind you that the magicians of Pharaoh couldn't stand up against Moses and Aaron. And the Baal prophets of Israel couldn't stand up against Elijah. Go ahead. And if you are dumb enough to take the side of the enemies of truth against me, I, by the power of Almighty God, shall defeat you all. In the name of Allah, He is sufficient for me. His power you shall come to know. You will not get away with any betrayal of me. I'm your last chance. Tell the Jews, shout it from the mountaintop. I am a mercy from Almighty God to you. I am to warn you of your transgression and give you a way out. But if you try to harm me, then you bring upon yourself and your generation the swift destruction of Almighty God Allah. You may take it or leave it alone. Black man, you got power at last and forever. Black woman, you got power at last and forever. Come on, my Indian brothers and sisters. Come on and let's unite. Yes, yes, yes. Come on. Yes. Of tonight's lecture. Thank you. As mayor of all of the people of Los Angeles, no longer tolerate a master-slave relationship with the whites of this nation. Time, I don't expect to make too many. Those that sold our fathers into slavery, we'll never forget it. Is an anti-Semite. Some reporter asked him, what did he say that was anti-Semitic? They did the same thing to Jesse. On an equitable basis. There are Indians in the I'll fill your behind with so much lead.
Still here. Thank you for hanging on. I ain't gonna find the clip that I'm looking for tonight. There's just too much.
After you're trying to put man to sleep.
I forgot. You've got a newborn, haven't you? You've got a newborn. But you know what's interesting, though, brother? It's the way that the numbers dropped when I started showing that. Do you see what it is with our people, though? They're not interested in that. Like, you don't have to be a Muslim or down with the nation. I ain't down with Farrakhan, but I tell you one thing.
Yeah, don't shoot the messenger.
The message that he was putting out then has echoes, not echoes. It's literally the same message and the same fight that we've got now, and that was in 1985. That's the point I wanted to make. But there's a part in that clip, people could go back and watch it if they want. There's a part in that lecture where he describes if America don't listen to him, he's basically saying, I'm your last chance, da-da-da. We heard him say that. But if they don't listen and hear the cry that's going out, that what you're going to see across the world is race war, starting in the UK. He actually says that. He says it will start in the UK and you will see it roll out from there across the world.
Yeah, because what people don't understand, where we are, yeah, if we're here, it's the belly of the thing. So when something pops off here serious, the world is going to react. The world's already in disarray. Bare countries, Latino countries, Africa, bare countries are standing up. Did you hear what just happened? Sunderland police station got burnt down
Just now, innit?
just now. Yeah, it's
Now,
boy.
this woman I think has gone. Her name's Zizi Tafera. Africans didn't produce the natural resources, was just there in the ground until the Western powers came to investigate and apply the science. So we only have to blame ourselves for failing to have science. Wow. I don't know. She said she was going when I started playing Farrakhan. I don't know if she has gone. She was also the person who said, "Who's the black guy in the background, like behind Farrakhan? He looks like one of the people in them Roman movies." That's what she said. When that was my teacher and mentor, Dr. Khalid Mohammed. Wow. So you see that there are still those. She said us, so I'm assuming she is a black sister.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the link out, brother, and see who wants to join the conversation, all right? Because there's still people out there who have no clue whatsoever if Zizi Tafera is anything to go by. I'm just gobsmacked with those comments, actually, that she doesn't know about ancient Kush and Egypt and how they gave the Greek science. It's very sad, isn't it? And part of it, like I've been thinking to myself, in our day, it was saying that the youths were carrying on the way they were because of lack of knowledge of self. They didn't know about their great accomplishments and Africa being great, and we set out to teach them. We're the generation that set up Saturday schools and created Black History Month in this country, and all of it was geared towards providing the knowledge. So I think I've been fooled into a false sense of security that all these years later, I believe that, well, the knowledge is there, but we didn't believe behind the infrastructure that we should have left behind. So that's what's creating what the youths are doing now. But is it that? We talked about the music, brother. I know there's a lot of people advocating for cleaner lyrics in the music, you being one of them. Tell us a little bit about that, my brother.
No, I just think that I don't see no other race or people have a music that their youth are concentrating on killing each other. It's unheard of, you know what I mean? Like, that is the tone of the music, and it's not funded by us, but they're paying for it. And the youth, like, music was the biggest inspiration on me when I was young. You know what I mean? I grew up in the grime era, but grime was more face-to-face battling. So we would deal with it. We would battle each other in the dance, there and there. These youths are making songs in studios, talking about killing each other, smoking their dead ops and all of this stuff. So when they see each other, it's just a madness instantly. They're not. There's no conflict revolution in drill music. Grime, there's kind of conflict revolution. Okay, let's link, let's battle. This is just about points and who's got the most points. And once you do that first song, someone's going to want to test you. Someone's going to want to test your gangster. So there's nothing behind it. Like, gangster rap even had a bit of morals. Even certain gangster rap, they had to get rid of gangster rap as well, because gangster rap was there was kind of a balance in it. Man will still make songs about their mom. Man will still make songs about the community. You know what I mean? But then now drill's just totally out of balance. This new era music, there's no balance. It's just killing from start to finish. There's no story. You know what I mean?
But is it any wonder then that young people are enacting this type of behavior? Like, when I've seen some videos of these young people battle fighting in the streets with knives, and they just look like they're playing Mortal Kombat. That's what it looks like to me. It looks literally like they're enacting what they see on the screen. And 30 years ago, and this is why I wanted to kind of bring it back to some of the prominent teachers of that time, people like Farrakhan and whatever, albeit that man has fallen from grace, in my opinion. Don't get it twisted, people. He's fallen from grace, gone to the club, gone to the other side, just like the rest of them. And I'm not feeling that, but I still cannot take away what the man achieved in terms of waking up my generation, you know? So I'll give props to that. But
yeah, the message is the message, isn't it? The word is the word. It doesn't matter who says it.
The word is the word. Yeah. And Malcolm taught us that you can kill the man, but you can't kill the message. And that's what I think a lot of us get twisted a lot of the time. I feel like that knowledge needs to be sinking in again somewhere. You know, there's been a whole kind of, since that 30 years ago, you've had a lot of influx of different nations into the place. You've got the Congolese community, they're kind of fresh in the place compared to the Caribbean community, or maybe even the Nigerian community. Do you know what I mean? There are different mindsets coming.
And that's the next thing about the music thing now. If you clock, most of the top artists are of African descent in the rap game as well, in the UK. And it's like, what happens is they can put on this roadman image, but anytime they can take it off and just go back into their Nigerian now. They can just lock it off. But with the Caribbean youths, it kind of follows them their whole life. If you understand what I'm saying. I don't know if that makes sense.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's different implications because they don't have the same family structure. We've never had that level of culture and language and all those things that bind the rest of the Black community. We've never really had that. We had it back in the day, and it came in the form of Rasta, I suppose, is what really, you know, was the glue at that point. But we don't have that now, and it's clearly it's evident. You can see it. You know, you can see it with, who's at the top expressing themselves, who's not. And there's nothing wrong with that. I believe that we should be amalgamating right now. Yeah, we were we did a certain amount of trailblazing in the Black community, but African young people weren't really a part of that at that time, unless they pretended they were Jamaican, which was happening a lot in my time. You didn't really dare to say that your parents came from Nigeria.
Yeah.
But it was.
Yeah, in my time as well, it was similar.
Right. Exactly. So
but at the same time, we can focus on the negative side. But if you think of the positive side, it was kind of Rasta who was telling people to love themselves, their African self as well. So we did have the negative side when we was cussing and that, but it was the positive side where we were spreading self-love as well. You know what I mean?
That was something that was homegrown, because if you look at it, really and truly, I've been to Africa and they absolutely worship Jamaican people. They love Bob Marley, the music. That's how they see Jamaica. They love it. You go to Jamaica, they have a big respect for Africa and Africans. And that's the lasting legacy of Rastafari that's given them that. But you come here into the melting pot and suddenly there's all this dysfunction. Niger don't like Jamo. Jamo don't like Niger. The youth them start stabbing up their one another. What is it about the West that affects Black people in this way? Because even when we look at knife crime, it is not a Black problem. If it was, then I would see that on the streets of Dar es Salaam when I lived there, or the streets of Kingston, Jamaica even. Yes, there are gang fights. Gangs always fight and kill each other all over the world. Russia, wherever you go. But this epidemic of young people, feral, running the streets, mindless, killing each other wholesale, that's a phenomenon that belongs to America and the UK, don't it?
Yeah, and they're the ones with the two biggest industries, the two biggest music industries, frequencies. Because if you clock Black people, we're controlled, or African people, how you want to refer to us, we're controlled by vibrations and frequencies. You understand? That's why music touches us different. The sun touches us different. Like, that is a key part of us. Is music? It's a big part of us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what brings us together. You know, it makes us happy. It can make you sad. So you know, when someone from a church sing in front of you, a proper church singer, you're gonna get goosebumps. You know what I mean? Or if someone's around you singing some easy shit, you're gonna want to bounce. So it definitely does.
We're people of music. We're the players of harps and instruments and fine instruments and whatever the Bible tells we are as the children of Israel. I ain't getting into.
But as to say, I'm not burning out their thing completely. Like, I understand, like, the streets, and there's gonna be an element of that in music. There is gonna be an element of that, but the problem is that I know thousands of like hundreds of whatever conscious artists, and it's like the main station just don't. They go like, that's the worst music. Like, in the sense, it's bad for people. Like, if you're rapping about the truth, but these men can talk about that. For instance, I can't make a song talking about alphabet people. I can make a song talking about killing man and like doing all of this all the time. It don't make no sense.
Tell
they
me
play
how
it.
that makes sense, my brother. Tell me how that makes sense. But it shows you, look, straight up, I'm just gonna tell it like it is, in my opinion. And it's not just my opinion, that's reality. If it wasn't the case, we wouldn't see the world the way it is right now. This is the time. You mentioned spiritual earlier on. This is the time of Satan. This is the ruler of malign forces that is ruling the earth right now. And that's what we see manifesting in people's behavior, in certain legislation that supports that behavior, everything that is going on. Blessed love, love, peace, and unity. I just saw your message. I didn't even see you in the chat, you know, sis. Blessed love, sister. You don't know. But yeah, we're being governed by malign forces. That's what it is. Otherwise, what other explanation is there? If we say that we believe,
Exactly what you're saying. That's what I think. I just think how much they're pushing out this satanic agenda just makes you even God more.
yep,
You know what I mean? Just makes you want to get closer to God, kind of thing. Because they're going hard. You know what I mean? They're going crazy
they're
for this
going
thing,
hard.
and it's right in
Satan's
front
getting
of our face now. That's the scary thing. It's right in front of our face now.
You
Dr.
know,
Malachi's
it
view.
reminds me of a Peter Tosh. It reminds me of a Peter Tosh interview. No, hold on 1 second. Just gonna see if I can find it. It's not long, like the last one.
I need to be knocked out. I'm not gonna lie. And I had
Huh?
the feeling that, yeah.
So have you found the name yet, brother?
Pardon?
Hello. Have
Yeah,
you chosen a name yet for little man? He's literally days old, isn't he?
yeah, yeah. Proper.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah. You did tell me the name actually. Do you want to share it?
Nah.
Okay, I hear that. I hear that loud. Yeah, I forgot you told me his name. It's a very fitting name at that.
Yeah.
I can't find it. But it reminds me of something that Peter Tosh once said, and you might be able to find it if you search for it somewhere. But he basically says somebody's interviewing him, and he's basically licking out, and he's saying, every day I hear in the music, baby, baby, I love you, boogie-loo, baby, baby, I blood clot love you. A man get up every morning and I sing, baby, baby, I love you. A man wouldn't praise the Almighty a bomber clot, but he want to get up and say, baby, baby, boogaloo. And that's exactly how he said it. Tosh, the mighty one, you understand? But it's the
Yeah.
facts. A man ain't waking
Mm.
up to praise the Almighty like that, but he's waking up singing the love songs. I wonder what Peter Tosh would make of the music now, huh? And that was back then. That was just man singing love songs that he was unhappy about. Imagine if he heard man like Cartel in the music now, man like Bob Marley. What would they make of it?
Yeah, for real. I couldn't even imagine. Who from their generation's hair still? Saying,
Who from the generation is here still? Not even Berries, like maybe Berries. Maybe Berries, people like that are still keeping it clean. He's a dinosaur now, though, isn't he? Berries. It's for the old people. But the point is that the lyrics have to change. Everything has to change. The mindset has to change. The liberty has to change. I don't think it's acceptable. It sicks my stomach every time to see these young girls scantily clad, thinking it's okay. I was in the traffic today, and I saw a young tick body, black as coal sister. She was gorgeous, to be fair. If I was a man, I might have honked my horn too. But quite a few men were honking the horn, and she was wearing what I can only describe as beachwear. It was beachwear, literally. And I kept thinking, any moment, the skirt is going to fly up and reveal more of what you could already see, which was the two bum cheeks. You could see the sort of bottom of them. And I thought,
yeah,
oh
what's
my.
up with them new? I didn't know that was back in the day, but I thought Batty Riders was just below the cheeks. But there's some mad. mini skirt things now, where just
These
their
are
whole
just
cheeks
above
are
the
just out.
cheeks. Yeah, these are just above the cheeks, and I cannot tell if they've got little shorts on with it, because I'm hoping they are. What I saw, I just thought, one little gust of wind and you're going to be fully exposed. It doesn't look like you got panties on. I thought, oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh my God. Turning our daughters this music into the whores of Babylon. That's how I see it.
Hmm.
That is how
Yes,
I
man.
see it.
Don't you remember when I was young, like girls when they was 13 and that, they weren't dressing like sexy. You understand? Like it's just they're dressing sexual. They're dressing like their mum, and adults like proper. When I was young, girls wear a little tracksuit. They look dusty sometimes. You know what I mean? These kids in the park and that, they all in
Right.
fly clothes all the time, looking like Ice Spice and all this. I'm like, what the? These girls are 13. This is crazy, bro.
Baby Afua is 13. She's not allowed. Yeah, it's down to the parenting as well, because obviously she's a young girl. There's certain things that she wants to do and wear that is, in line with what her generation do and wear, but she's not allowed. And considering the fact that I provide the money for her to buy clothes at 13, why are the parents allowing the children to go on Shein and pick the most revealing things and go and wear it?
It's mad.
That's the argument. What's with the mothers? I mean, most of them aren't dressed much better themselves, but I think that's what a lot of it is. We all seem to have children quite young, quite early. But when I look back at my generation, being raised by them old schoolers in the spirit of things like Rasta and Marcus Garvey and whatever, we at 16. I had my child a lot later than 16, but a lot of my peers had their youths at 15, 16. But we were already trained to hold the yard. You get what I'm saying? Cooking, cleaning, minding the baby, knowing, being responsible enough to know that you kind of have to sit down with the youth rather than raving every minute. And if you did rave, you gave the child to your mother and your dad if he was about, which most of the time he was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was the standard. This lot, I doubt those children get much more than chicken go-go or whatever it's called on the high street at evening time. They do not get a proper cooked meal. There is no order. There's no homework time. They're
But you
staying up
can't
till
tell
1
these
a.m.
youths that. You can't tell them like, and it's all dripping down to like African families and that. There was way more stricter when I was younger. It's all dripping down now. The youths
They're
are just
very scared though. This is what I find the difference with I work a lot around that. I work around social services, youth offending team, whatever. And a lot of them African workers, which, the whole sector has become quite dominant with African practitioners. And
yeah,
they're learning something new for them, like, the naughty step and this and that. And a lot of them are taking that into their homes and allowing the old school discipline and order
mm,
because they think it's abusive. They've really taken on the doctrine. Whereas when we were doing social work, them social workers were still doing what they had to do at home and going back and telling other people they couldn't. But I feel like the climate's changed. I've seen a lot of stuff recently. And also you've got the other extreme side of it, I think, where if you over beat that pick-me or over lock them down, then they broke out anyway. And I think a lot of that could be why we're seeing a lot of African youths creating mayhem. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
It's a sort of imbalance of both, really. Those who are clinging on with for dear life and being more extreme in their discipline as a result, and those who
yeah,
have
for
completely
real. Because yeah, a
oh,
couple African youths I went to school with. When I left school, they told me what was going on at home with them. I was like, raw. I didn't even know. Like when man told me what was going. He said, bro, I came into school like for months and my whole back was just open with scars and that from the beatings and that. There. Where? I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? But they're very, I noticed with us Caribbean, we'll talk about our things out. They're very taboo with their things. You understand? They don't talk out like us. We take more accountability, I think, in those departments. We'll talk out about what's going on. You understand? Their thing is like, kind of similar to, I don't know, Asian people in a way, like they just keep it in house, like
yeah,
Caribbean people.
definitely. Like
Maybe
how
there's like
Caribbean
one.
people used to be, but that's always a hotbed for all sorts of interfamilial abuse, isn't it? And that's the issue. There's
Mm,
no balance in this thing. But my thing is that where is the solutions then? Because my solution is obvious. I think everybody knows what my solution is. We get out. We get out because we're all living in the sunken place, my
No,
brother.
definitely.
And that's what I
Definitely.
think.
Do you think
You
it's like,
understand?
it feels like a time now, I'm not lying, like all this time I've been doing what I'm doing, I think I'm at a point where it feels like you just got to focus on your household at the moment, you know, car. The world's mad, and your neighbors, who's close to you, just focus on
Yes.
that. Come offline, focus on your road, your block, make that secure, your network. You understand? Because all this reaching out to mad, it's not adding up. People don't care, man. People don't care. You got to
They'll
make the
care when the
people
bombs
care.
start dropping. They'll care when
And
the food runs out. They'll care when there's no food trucks coming into Tesco's or Sainsbury's, and they've cut the gas and electricity in the middle of December. They'll care then. But what I'm
yeah,
saying is, my brother, who
it's
wants
coming
to
to that
stay in
still.
the Gideon is coming to that. It's definitely coming to that, without a doubt. But who's really looking to stay in this Gideon in a place that is so barren you can't feed yourself from the land if there was ever any type of war or civil unrest? I, for one, am not an advocate of that for our people. I, for one, say bite the bullet, form some kind of, like you said, with your neighbors, with your family, some sort of alliance, and get the F out. Whether that wants to be the Caribbean, which I believe is a halfway point, you can't really tan Dessa for too long because that's going to get caught up in the shit. You understand? Or you want to go into the continent where you can find your place. But we cannot stay here. It's going to be utter destruction, particularly for us. We saw what happened, my brother, during the Ukraine evacuation when the war started, and how they left the African students in the place and would not allow them to board the plane.
People very forgetful, you
Or
know.
the rescue trains. You remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What do you reckon is going to happen with us?
That's what I say. We're gonna be the
We
ones like looking for somewhere to tag along. We're just gonna be lost. You know what I mean? We're just gonna be lost and used, lost and used. Yeah, it's right.
No, we're
It
going to
seems
be
like it's
dead.
time to
Is
go.
what we're going to be. We're going to be dead. We're going to be more than lost. We're going to be dead. Because if there really is going to be that level and war coming, yeah.
And imagine, yeah, what's going on right now with that police station, whatever happens going on right now in the UK, that's not even the war. That's just the war within.
No,
And they, you see
that's
what
what
I'm
the
saying?
scriptures tell us is the beginning of sorrows. You know, that's just the beginning of sorrows, man.
It
It
seems like it's
is.
representing everything. Like each community, you can't fix outside if you're not fixed within. That's what's happening. Like the UK is trying to fix the world, but the UK is messed anyway. You know what I mean? This new prime minister coming, the first thing he's talking about is giving 38 billion to Ukraine again. Like, what this is mad. It's proper like a TV show now, like a reality show. That's what in the West, everyone, you just got to get out. You
Way.
just got to get out.
It's the gateway to everything. And not only that, they need this civil unrest at the moment so that they can bring in their new draconian measures and create the one world order that they're looking to create. That's what's going on right here. And I'm
Look how much
saying,
stuff's been going on. Yeah, I know the three girls. That's a terrible thing and all of that. Yeah, that's the
terrible.
worst thing ever. Worst thing ever. But the prime minister used this to say that he wants to bring in, what's it called? Photo ID. What's it called?
Oh, yes,
Face
facial
recognition.
recognition. Yes, yes, yes. There
That's
you
the
go.
first thing. As a prime minister, or where's the king? Why don't we have a king?
Yeah.
This is time when the king's supposed to come and be like, yo, we need peace in the country, you know. You Muslim man, you EL man, we're linking up. You know what I mean? He's coming and saying, no, we just want to bring in facial recognition. Like, what? What? He's not talking about unity or nothing. He's like total
Yes,
control.
isn't it?
Total control. Basically making us prisoners. And people are falling for it, like saying, yeah, it's now. And you know who they're gonna you know who's gonna affect the most? Women. Women are gonna
Come on.
want this. Because remember they done something with ITV the other day when they made one of their hot reporters, she's a good looking woman, walk through West End. And it showed her get moved to like 20 times or something in 2 hours. Yeah. But everyone was watching it and they was going like, look how he moved her, look how vulnerable she is. But even people, everyone in the comments is like, nothing happened. She's walking through West End looking, and she never had no jacket, and she's just walking around looking lost. Mandem's going up to her, you lost? Oh, what's your name? Rare. It's normal interactions, but they was like saying, oh, look how dangerous this was, and that there was proper like making it look like the maddest thing. Yeah. This is why this is all appealing to women. You understand? To get once they got the women on side, it's a wrap, and they have already. Because I've seen in the comments, I even see that girl, Ling Mel. What's her name? That she does that like Lin Mel, that light skinned girl. She goes on Channel 5 a lot. She was like, yeah, I'm on full facial recognition. I was like, you mad?
So people in the comments are saying they already use facial recognition. Yes, they do. But what the brother's saying is they're going to roll it out. Literally, they'll be having the police will be having handheld devices. Mark my words, that's where this is going. They're going to roll it out bigger. Yeah.
The credit score system, the social credit system.
Yep.
That's what they're bringing in. Is the social credit system.
Credit system. There you go.
Draconian like China. Measures. You're gonna have like a big billboard up. You're walking down the road. If you've done something, it's gonna come up on the billboard. Like that's what people they do use facial recognition. Little vans in Croydon, they'll park up for a second. But this is gonna be all over because they've already been putting up the cameras. If you look around little lampposts and that, you see some mad looking devices and that. What is that? They've been putting them up under cameras and that. They're getting it in place. That's why he said we're gonna roll this out like immediately. That's your response, not oh no, people, we need to come together.
Come on.
Like it's mad because in one aspect I understand why them man there came out, but they came out and it was a mistake. They should never came out and attack the mosque. What's wrong with you? You didn't even have the full details. But I understand the frustration of it. So they're using their own people as an example to stop protesting. Remember, I was out the whole lockdown doing my thing. They were saying we was going to get 14 years for being out. The people don't remember that. They're saying you're going in prison for protesting. And now
I remember that. I used to be down Trafalgar Square every Saturday with the anti-vaxxers before I left to go Tanzania. Yeah, man.
Yeah. And so they're using this now to roll that out. Like I know, we're gonna force this now. We're falling for the trap. This is crazy. And people don't understand because I've been on AI for a while. I've seen the rollout of it. AI, you can't imagine how much data is taken in a second, how intelligent it is now. Yeah. And they're not even rolling it out properly. Like, see when they start putting these things into play, which they're gonna do now, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Absolute wrap. And then put that with the fact that war is about to lick as well. Do you understand? That's how they're going to speed it up. After that war, when the destruction and the people are broken down to the extreme, that's when it's going to become complete. You understand?
Because the reason why they want the war and the AI, because Tesla got his robots, Japan's got their robots that's like $2,000. And Tesla's got their robots, it's like 20 grand, like proper robots, assistants, because it's not for us the mass, it's for after the war. You get
That's right. Yep. This is what they don't get, my brother. It's not even a joke thing. Mr. Usual One says, Afua, that is a good debate to have. Do we stay or leave before the war comes? You got me thinking on that one. But what about those who can't up and leave? Absolutely. What I'm saying, there is always going to be people that just aren't able to do that. Financially will be the biggest reason, won't it? I don't ever want to be in that position where I want to leave and I can't leave. I'm saying that for those of you that feel that you haven't got those resources, now is the time to start trying to get those resources. And if you can't do that, then you need to get together with like-minded people to formulate a plan as to what you're going to do and how you're going to stay alive in this place when it all kicks off. I mean, what can I say?
There are certain things as well.
I'm so grateful, my brother. I'm so grateful to the Most High, to the universe, for blessing me into the knowledge at the age of 18 years old, all those years ago, So, yeah. Hold on. Fueled from heaven. Is this heaven? Blessed love. Blessed love. Is that heaven? Hey, sis. I think you're on mute. Fueled from heaven. That's not heaven, is it?
Hello. Hi. Good
Oh,
evening.
how you doing, sis?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
We're good. The sun is shining, or was. It is hopefully tomorrow.
Yes, trustfully. Oh, which brings me into what I was saying. We are powerful beings. As you know, we create the weather, whether it's the weather within or externally. What we say with our mouths is what manifests, yeah? Or what femifests, yes? Because everything's been man, 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 man. I've started to say femifest, yeah? Because we are creators, ally.
Absolutely.
Isn't that the truth? Right? You know when you've been lying about getting a headache so you don't go into school?
That's
what
back
happens?
to what brother was talking about.
You get a headache.
Word, sound, and power, sis. Word, sound, and power. You know,
that's
the universe
what
was created. The universe was created through the word. You understand?
Word. Yes,
Oh,
right?
I hear what you're saying, yeah.
When your baby comes out of you first, you know, the doctors or whoever's there, your doula, your husband, whoever, they wait for the baby to express themselves. So you know, is my baby good? It's the sound, the vibration of what we say, we create. So when everybody listens to the weatherman and he tells us it's going to rain tomorrow, and everyone's based their plans on that. Oh, you know, it's raining tomorrow. No, it's raining tomorrow. Of course it's going to rain because we all said that. But those of us that didn't believe that and we're like, nah, I'm sorry. I've got my barbecue tomorrow. I know it's not going to rain. That tenacity literally can turn that around. So the reason I was saying that was all of us can leave this country if we wanted to. All of us, we can. There's no such thing as I can't. It's really about shifting yourself into that realm, and
100%.
and knowing that there's nothing wrong with daydreaming. There's nothing. They always tell us, "Oh, don't daydream, don't daydream." The reason why they said that to us, they knew that daydreaming creates your reality. It actually manifests from your mind's hemisphere into physical matter. So if you know, a lot of us are tired these days, fatigued, radio activated from the microwaves and everything. So while you're lying there, think about and visualize the life that you truly know that you deserve, not that you want. Never say I want, wanty. Visualize that life. Like think about yourself on the beach, eating mangoes, living that free life. Consistently think that. And then guess what? That's like an imprint that you've put out into the universe. And the universe only knows what you're vibrating on and will deliver the exact same thing to you. So for those who were asking, how do we do that? Do we leave before? Do we leave after? Everybody's journey is different. So you tap into yourself and see what, you know, where you're at now. You know, do you need to be here now? Why wait for anything? Because it could happen tomorrow. We don't know.
What I want to say to that, sis, is that you and I know that. We know about word, sound, power. We know about vibrational frequency, that how it manifests in flesh. And a lot of the people here know about that. Some do, some don't. But how do we translate that philosophy down to young people who seem to just, their third eye seems to be completely shut and calcified? And it has been quite deliberately, actually. Yeah. How do we do that? Because we're talking about solutions tonight with young people. We know what the problems are. I showed Farrakhan because what I wanted to illustrate is that 30 odd years ago, how long is that now? I left school in 85. Yeah. Wow. 30 odd years ago. That 30 odd years, that's more than that. It's nearly 40 years. It's 40 years next year. 40 years ago, exactly the same issues in the community with Black people, exactly the same problems, rhetoric, everything. And here we are 40 years later asking the same questions.
And the reason why is because, as you know, as you just said, there is a structure and a plan that's been implemented. For instance, you know, this thing that happened in 2020, this was actually written, this manual was written 100 years before. So you have to realize these powers that were, not the powers that be, because we are the powers that be, the powers that were had already put this plan into action. So they're like 100 years, perceived 100 years ahead. But guess
They're
what?
a lot more than 100, sis. At least
Well, a
two.
lot more, like a lot more, but
Yeah.
not really. That's an illusion, an optical illusion, because actually time's linear, not linear. And we right now are transgressing a lot further and quicker than we used to. Things that used to take 10 years, we can now do in 6 months. So I know that for me, sex sells, and anyone who, you know how the devil comes. The devil, there's a film called The Devil Wears Prada, right? Anyone that comes with like swag, beauty, they're taking the lead. So it's about playing devil's advocate and at the same time playing reverse psychology. So a lot of the times, like when I get people I want to influence people into healthy living, I adapt to my demographic or I adapt to my audience. So for me, the answer for young people is to glamorize this without making it a speech, a lecture, without making it seem like old fart business. It's about getting it into the animes, recreating those, There's so many of us that are creatives. We can start doing things. We don't have to wait for anybody. We can just start like the man that was just speaking now. We can start it within our homes first. And then our brothers or sisters or children, if we have any, their friends will come over and be like, oh wow, I love this comic book you've done. It's kind of things like that, little drips that then become a whole flower. So to me, like art, music, there's a lot of high vibrational music that's coming out now, like Lizzie Jeff, Sonova,
and
Supernova.
We've seen waves of it, sis. From my perspective, at the other end of the spectrum,
yeah,
I have got to say, and I've said the time for evangelism is done. Yeah,
right.
It is time for action. What you described there is, again, it's a 40-year argument. We don't have time for drips and play. That's what.
No, we don't. No, we really don't.
That's how I feel. Like,
no, we really don't. We really don't.
From my perspective, sis, from the other end of things, you said something quite significant. You said we've got to start.
Yes.
And this is what I'm saying from the
other perspective. Not talk. Start.
Someone who's 40 years deep. I'm saying we can't be at the starting point still, man. We need to be doing this. You understand my point?
I do. And I feel it. I feel the frustration. Believe me, I do. I really, really do, because it pisses me off, because it can't just be a few, like a handful. The handfuls need to be like, come on, we need to be in bunches now,
When you were talking about high vibrational music, it instantly brought me back to the 90s and the days of neo soul. We were hopeful then. Look where that went.
Okay, right.
When we had Jill Scott and Lauryn Hill, when they were raising the vibration above gangster rap, and it was hopeful. Right. So it all goes in waves, time and time again.
Or do you know when you say sex sells, like people will say that about like movies, like you need violence and drugs in it. But if you really look at it, what's the most successful sitcoms in the Black community? It's things like The Cosby Show, Fresh Prince, Desmond's, My Wife. That's the most successful program. Yeah,
you're right. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Sex sells because that's all that's being offered.
Sex sells, but not in. Oh, sorry. When I said sex sells as well, so I was really kind of looking at it on a deeper level. So not on the surface level. I know you're not. No. What you're saying is correct. Though. What you're saying is absolutely correct. You see, I was talking about like enticing people. So, in order to catch a fish, you have to use a hook, right, or some bait to get them in. You get them in, and then they can have their eyes a little bit more open because their foot's in the door, but you have to get them in. And I think what you said was amazing, because what's lacking from most of especially the quote unquote Black, I don't like really calling us that, but the indigenous community is that we are missing that uncle, that aunt, that one person, a glue of the family that you could always go and say, so-and-so did this. We'd bring everyone together. We'd mediate. We'd sort things out as a family. We wouldn't be on social media doing indirect posts and stuff. There's a lot of splits going on, right? So what you said was correct. I feel like if we can bring a sense of community in, but with the language that our demographic speaks, and the language of demographics and young people speak right now is, you know, the girl that was crossing the road that Auntie Afua saw. We need someone like her to be a spokesperson, to be talking about heaven's healthy juices, right? You know, like this is we have to really be on a, I hate that word realistic as well, but we have to be realistic.
Now I get what you're saying, because when they wrote our children in, they use, I call it like mouse traps. We need mouse traps to lower them in, because when we get them in now, then we can pump our agenda. That's what they do to our children to get them in the festivals. Then they pump their agenda with their little subliminal stuff and all of that. So you're talking, the mouse trap. Yeah, you need a mouse trap for them.
Right?
You know what? In our day, in our day, I remember when I was in my early 20s somewhere, we decided we wanted to bring it to the youths of our day. We were into postcode wars and all sorts of madness at the time. And we decided we were going to take over the youth centre, the local youth centre, in the guise of providing drug and alcohol and safe sex advice, basically. So of course they took us in. It was me and another brother, the same brother I was telling you about that was arrested after the Stephen Lawrence riots. It was him. And we basically went in there. The youth workers were really gazing. They weren't really paying much attention. So they gave us a room and we piled in all these youths from our local area and we started pumping them with right knowledge. You understand? And right knowledge is not just history as we know, it's also spirituality. Dr. Sebi was in London regular at the time. We were turning them on to that type of stuff. And we started pumping the right knowledge. Problem is now, there are so many checks and balances and hoops that you got to go through. You couldn't dare get into a youth space and do that. I've always had the idea, and I would like somebody to help me actually fund that, because I'm tired of using my own money over the last 40 years, actually.
Yes.
I am. Yeah. I'd like somebody to get a van, one of those projector van type things, and just make it their daily business to drive from estate to estate, beaming right knowledge onto the side of the block. Take it to them. Take it to them. Because
they do that in Ghana.
The young people are not coming into your little workshop that you've given me funding through my CIC for. They're not coming. We are preaching to the converted.
Right. You know what? Can I say something? That is so brilliant. I'll tell you that works. You know why? So in Ghana, in Accra, they literally have this man in the van, that he's not just alone, by the way. He's there with about 20, 30 youths in a t-shirt. And what they're doing is they're promoting safe sex and cervical cancer awareness. And he's there with a big tannoy, like, you know, like, yeah, and you love your womb and this and that. And then the youths are dancing and skanking out. So I'm like, oh, what's this? I don't even know the cancer thing. I'm just there like, oh, let me join in. I'm all like there skanking with them. Then I'm looking, I'm like, oh, this is about cervical cancer. I'm like, I didn't even realize because they've got it on the t-shirts. So you're reeled in by the music, by the loud noise, by, you know, and he's just going around the whole like area, you know.
And what he'll be doing with that is raising that vibration above whatever is on the radio, in the AirPod or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? This is, I don't think that I don't agree with the carrot and stick approach, and that we should use a little of what is there. You know, that's the principle they use in vaccines, isn't it? I don't think that works. I think we need to just go above it with our own efforts, and we don't take to the streets anymore. Do you know what I mean? And also, we know that anything that is done for 3 weeks or more becomes habit forming. Yeah, that's facts.
21 days. 21 days.
That is how the brain is wired, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at even NLP or neuro-linguistic programming technique, it's about repetition. So if you keep pumping that day on day on day on day on day, it will have an effect on the mindset of whoever's listening and watching.
Yeah.
It's science.
Yes, it will.
That's kind of my solution, to go above the vibration of that gangster rap music. How else are you going to do it?
And
Because
remember,
you're
we
not gonna
can't
wait.
take everyone with
We're
us.
not gonna wait. We're not gonna wait for the record company to take up all the conscious rappers, brother. You talk about that a lot. It's never gonna happen right now. It's not the
Yeah.
Yeah,
agenda.
But you know what
it's
we've got to
not.
remember, yeah? There is such thing as divine intervention, and I can feel that happening as
Yes,
well.
There's
You
that
yes,
too.
understand? We've
yes,
got to always remember divine intervention, and I
correct.
think they're panicking. They're throwing their toys out the pram. They're doing everything
Telling
right
you,
now.
I'm
Because
They
telling you,
know.
I'm
their
telling you. The
matrix is
time's
coming
up.
to an end. It's the
The time's
skirts will
up.
lift up. Yeah,
It's already ended.
because the cycle of the moon is over. We're going back into the cycle of the sun. You understand? And they know this.
The
Yep.
moon and the sun. The moon is everything that's hidden, and the sun is illumination.
Everything that's revealed.
So,
Exactly. We are in
so
that season.
what you said was correct. You know, this is why I'm not even threatened, because all of this is an illusion. That's what I said. It's an optical illusion. They want us to say these things. So when we keep saying stuff like, "Oh, well, you know, like, oh, you know, times are hard," or you know, it's not easy out here for people, like, no, shut up. Oh, sorry, but when I hear people say that, I'm like, stop. Like, you're cursing yourself. This is what they want. Do you not see that's how they've got us? Simple things, like the simplest thing you won't even realize is what's holding you back. For years and years, you kept saying the same thing, same thing, same thing. You're programming yourselves, okay? That's sending that out. It's a signal you're sending out that's coming back to you. World War III is not physical. It is spiritual. That's why people right now are out here like having the most random outbursts. You're emotional. 1 minute you're up, 1 minute you're down. You're wondering what's going on. How come I thought I had it all together? Because there is a
In
massive
alignment.
shift happening right now. You're not allowed to do those old habits and old things that you used to do, because now we are raising the bar to a next level, a level that we've never seen before, a level that none of us, like what you said, like this is not going to be like back in the day, 40 years ago, 80 years ago. Times are shifting now, and those who don't want to shift will get left. It's not even about black and white
They'll
anymore.
get left behind in
Right, you get left
former
behind.
dimension. That's what's
That's
going to
it,
happen, because we've
right?
moved out of the free dimension now, and a
Way
lot of
out
people
of it.
don't realize that, sis.
Right.
But I want to pick up on divine intervention. I agree with that. Yes, brother, I do agree with that. But what I want to say is that the spirit cannot move without flesh. So we're not going to wait for divine intervention. We have to meet divine intervention in the
Oh,
flesh.
No,
I
You
Afia,
understand?
that is. I need to click my fingers for that. That's the
like
realest.
that.
That's the realest.
Mm-hmm.
Ashay.
It's not just gonna
Ashay.
happen. It's not just. Yeah, you're
It's
Ashay.
not
right.
just going to happen. We know that. Like
Mm-hmm.
the spirit cannot, the two are indivisible. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand? The spirit
Yeah,
can't move without the flesh.
that's
So
right.
we
We're not
have to get
waiting.
up and start
Because there was a
vibrating
theory that I
and
heard
start
about
connecting with that energy, those of us who know.
sorry,
Ashay.
And that
there was
comes through eating the right thing,
sorry, go on.
saying the right
Ashay.
thing, listening to the
Mm-hmm.
right thing, doing the right
Mm-hmm.
thing. That's
Mm-hmm.
what it is, you know? And that's what I'm saying. But how do we transport that to young people who are nowhere even near that? Even if you brought this conversation to them, they would laugh at you and keep scrolling through TikTok.
Can I be honest
No,
with
do you
you,
know?
but can I be honest with you? Sorry to say that. I just want to. I'll be in my experience. I haven't experienced that yet. In my experience, young people laugh at me, and then they laugh with me. Yeah, they actually find me such a vibe, and they're like, I want to be like you know. No, like seriously though, gang, like real talk though, like I thought you was crazy, yeah, but like they're like no, like they literally they feel it. It's not exactly what I'm saying. It's more of a vibration they're getting from me. They're like, oh, this ain't just some kooky woman. Like they're looking at me like, okay, you know what? Her energy is vibrant. And they're like, they think I'm way younger than I am. So when they realize, no, I'm an auntie. I'm like, no, I'm your auntie. They're like, what? So they're like, okay, let me hear what you got to say more. But it's not about preaching to them. You see, what it is again. They're looking at the lifestyle. They're like, hold on, but she's not robbing. She's not scamming. She's not doing all these things, but she's successful in herself. She's happy. Like, there must be something there. Like, I kind of want to be like that. I don't want to be stuck in like one dimensional thinking. Remember, these younger lot are not like how back in the day, these younger lot, they're very highly intelligent. Like their dimensions go to next waves and next levels. So they want to actually know more, but they're not given that opportunity because a lot of them, it's their environment, their family they grew up in, the schools they go to, or just the lack
You know
of
what?
good food and nutrition. Do you get me?
No, sis, you're talking truth, because say like when I go to my son's church and that, if you see how much young, strong, they're amazed that they are
Yes.
ready for these conversations.
Trust
But
me.
what the problem is devices, because a device is something.
Oh God.
Social media is something that mediates a conversation. So there's a mediation between us that's blocking us from
Yes.
having these conversations with the youngers, because they
Yeah.
actually love these high
They do.
intelligent conversations. Because you got to think, they're scrolling the internet. They don't have to go to the library for knowledge. So they're
Yeah.
getting a lot of knowledge, but they're not getting from us. So it's
Yeah.
different from, it's regurgitated from us. So when they see someone
Yeah.
like you that's vibrating high and talking to them in a way, they love it, because that's
Yeah.
what they're seeking.
I
'Cause
think
everyone,
sorry to cut you, but I think maybe I didn't illustrate my point enough, because I do agree with both what you both said. I think you made a point just now, London, where you said when you go to your son's church, that's a
yeah.
particular type of young person. I'm talking about those that are on the
No, but
roads,
you're right as
run
well. You're
out,
right as well, Afua.
run
You're
out.
right.
They
Yeah.
already know a lot of this stuff. I tell you, a client that I was dealing with just on Thursday. It's a young man who has been taking mushrooms and was mixed up in a certain philosophy that became quite well known recently. A young brother that was vilified for doing pranks. Nobody say his name, but you
Okay.
know who I'm talking about. And I dealt with one of the little cohort of them just
A
on Thursday.
massive butterfly just came in the house. It's so
Oh
big.
Jesus!
Oh my God,
All right,
that's
let me mute you,
transformation.
sis, while we deal with that. Yeah. And yeah, they know. They already know. I said it a few weeks ago that some of the youths I deal with in the cells and stuff, they're called names like Imhotep, meaning they grew up on this stuff. Downloadable. That's not what I'm really talking about. Like, they know, they're willing to have those conversations, but they're not actualizing it. They'll go back to scrolling on their ting after that conversation. You understand? So that's kind of what I'm trying to get to, is that the youths might know it. Yeah, they'll have the conversation, but they're not really making the connect between actualizing it, though. They know
Do you know
it
why?
philosophically. They know it intellectually. They
Because
know
there
better
ain't
than me
no
and
other
you.
programs to follow it up. That's why. Because
That's
when
right.
they get this, they
That's
yeah.
what I'm back to.
No,
Yeah.
what you're saying is right, because what they need is the aftercare. You know, like when you go for anything, you need now you need the aftercare to make sure that it's followed through. By the way, I just want to say this moth butterfly, which signifies transformation. Oh my God, Afua, Auntie Afua, if you can see this, and London. It's so beautiful. It's massive. It means this is such a great omen. Like, you know how I am. Like, I listen.
It actually is a great omen to see.
If you see it, guess what it is? Guess what color it is? It's black and white zebra, and it looks like a cheetah. It's black and white zebra and cheetah in one. You know, like this is. Oh my God, it's so big. I'm so scared and I love it at the same time. But
I'm wrapping up soon, so I'm gonna leave you to enjoy the butterfly. But I do know the significance of that.
Yes. I know, and that was a great way to end it. But what we need to do, as you were saying, is get the aftercare so that when there's something for them to go to. Remember, they've closed down a lot of youth centres intentionally. That's strategically done so that these gang members, the ones who used to have somewhere to go to, so they weren't out on the streets. They didn't have that. They don't have the sanctuaries. So we now.
I disagree with that.
I have to correct you on that. That was the case. Just for the last kind of 10, 15 years, that has definitely been the case. But I know for surety that they have pumped a whole heap of money into the youth service this summer, and there's been new state-of-the-art youth centres popping up all over the place. My daughter's a recipient of one right now.
Okay.
We didn't even know was there. And it's not really being accessed by a lot of the youths. They're probably so used to it not being there. But they really have, and it's free. Summer programs for teenagers, they're taking them.
There's so many. There's so many.
Why are they not being advertised then? And why have they not put holistic
because what's
programs
going
in there?
on is
Healthy living.
What's going on is people going like they're the only ones doing it. So what it seems like now that no one else is doing what they're doing in the ends, but everyone's going on like they're the only one. But there's when I go through Brixton, I see like there's like I couldn't name like 8 off the top of my head. like in Britain.
Really?
Yeah.
So
Like,
this is see, this is why we need to have these conversations because this is
Mm.
very important. You see, but it needs to be it needs to be like a little bit more enhanced because I didn't even know this.
Well, the one
And
that Baby Afua was at,
yeah,
they have a fully stocked, fully loaded dance studio and a professional recording studio.
like
They
Starlight
have
Music Academy
they
back in the
have
day.
a garage. They have a garage with a
Mhm.
car in it where you can learn to fix cars on a little level. They've
Yeah,
got
I
all kinds of
love
things
it.
going on in this center. They've also got money management, entrepreneurship,
Oh
all of those
wow,
things, and they have healthy eating. So what I'm saying is,
I'm talking about.
a lot of it, I was shocked, to be fair.
Wow.
I, like you, sis, I didn't know that this had made a resurgence and it's come back bigger and
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Wow. Yes.
We just need to tell young people about it and get into these spaces
Right.
to
So that's
provide
a start.
and deliver. Yeah.
And get the right people in there who are coaching them as well. Because remember, you know what I'm saying? You know how they love to, yeah. Well, that's another subject anyway. But yeah, getting the correct people in there to guide them. This sounds great. So that sounds like a pinpoint to start off with.
One of the greatest things about the youth services is that it's very heavily populated with our people.
Yeah.
And so therefore, as a cross-section, you've got a lot of young youth workers that are the people that you're talking about, that know this knowledge, that want to pass it on. And that's exactly what some of them are doing in these spaces. So there is
how do we go about doing that then? How do we go about now getting awareness?
It's usually good little children like Baby Afua that attend those spaces. That's the problem. That's the problem, because the boys that attend unit, I've noticed they've started putting units near to secondary schools as well. So when our children come out of the secondary school at 3:30, they're bucking up on the road with them from the unit, and it's causing problems. You understand? They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. So I've seen these things happen. Like I said, we just need to join those spaces, I guess, and make some of our own initiatives. Those of us who are in the know, we either need to leave and start this somewhere else, because our place is a big place, the diaspora is huge, and we all suffer from the same problems. Or if we're going to stay, then we need to roll our sleeves up and get involved and stop being keyboard warriors. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right?
100.
That's it. Sis, thank you very much, as always, my sister. I'm going to finish up with London. Sister? I can't hear you, sis. You're not muted. I think you've cut out. Sister Heaven, thank you for your contributions, as always, my sister. We'll catch up anyway. I'm gonna go, sis. I hope you can hear me. Blessed love. Yes, my brother. So, we chopped it up a little bit, but did we come to any solutions? Not really.
No.
Not really.
No.
And that's why I'm saying we need to do something different. We need to do something new, my brother, in my opinion.
You know what? It's there's certain things that I don't even want to talk online. It's come to them points there, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be strategic in a certain way, like to talk.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Me too. I've deliberately held back, to be fair, tonight.
Yeah. I think we did talk. The solution is simple. You said it, I said it. We need to come together, and I do think, like, the way it's going right now with this race thing, like, we don't know what we're gonna wake up to them to. Like, it's like the information's so quick now. We've got to be prepared, man. We've got to be prepared as a community. But because I live in the inner city, I feel more sorry for the people that live out of London and that. You understand? It seems like London's the safe place now. Like, I feel kind of calm in where I am at the moment. I'm in the hood. Those niggas they ain't coming to the hood, man. Those ain't coming to.
I'm glad that I live out enough not to be in the passer of London, but close enough to have the protection of London, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess I got the best.
But at the same time, in our own community, you can't win. It's like, that's what someone was saying to me today. It's like the black youth's got to watch out now for his own youths on the block and these man now. You know what I mean? It's and the
But they
peace.
set it that way so that when this time comes, like Sister Heaven was saying, it's been a plan that's been in motion for some time, and they knew this day would come, so they set things in motion to ensure the division and ensure that there was infighting, so that we wouldn't have enough ranks and numbers to resist. That's what this is. That's why they want to done the population and bring it
Because
down.
even I went to like reparations there, and I saw certain people there, and I'm thinking there's gonna be a time when we're gonna have to fight together. You know what I mean? Like it's like as a
Yeah.
community, once we it's with black people, once you have an argument, it's done. Once you have a
No,
little man, it's done. It done.
my God. They don't know how to do any kind of resolution, negotiation, nothing.
We're telling the
See,
youths about conflict revolution, but yeah, it's hard. But sometimes people can just step across the line and there's no coming back. But it's
I'm
just
tired of reparations there. I'm tired of seeing the same old modcloth, the same old kente cloth, the same old drums. I'm tired of it.
oh, uh, we're
I know you're
continuing.
advocating for it, brother, and I hear it, but boy, I'm tired of
No,
it.
I'm advocating for it in a way of like I want to
Nothing wrong
improve
with
it. You understand? I want to improve it, and I've just been talking about it. But like, yeah, going forward, like if I'm gonna advocate for it this year, I got to be a part of it. I'm not just going next year. I've got to try and make it into something that actually means something. Get me? Because my thing is every year should be based on something in the community. So this year could have been based on like say like gang violence. Try to get gangs together or something. It should be based on something in our community every year. You know what I mean? And it's not based on that. Like I think there's
I
different ways.
just think we need some true souls. You know, the passion, the soul, the real belief in your community, the love for your community. These people that are standing up saying that they're about community, chatting for community, they're not that. They're not. Do you understand what I'm saying? These some of them don't even praise God.
Yeah,
So I don't know where they're coming from.
and like I said, I've noticed as well, like my eyes is open. Yeah. When I go on the streets, I swear down, I see African aunties out there the most now, feeding people, and they're not on Instagram. And like when I'm in Brixton, I see the same African auntie all the time. And I told her, I hear about other people, but I see you. You get me? Like I see you every week. I see this African auntie out there. I'm gonna post her up on my Instagram. I'm like, bro, this woman's just always out here, like with I don't like saying mitties, but with the people with drug problems, you know what I mean, and stuff, feeding them and that, and she don't get no light.
Yeah. And that's what it
Beautiful.
is. I mean, like we've touched on it before in this program. It's about everybody doing their bit in their little corner till that microcosm becomes the macro, and it just it becomes the whole. Because that's the only way it's going to happen, individually, bit by bit, each person. But like I said, time is short.
That's what I was gonna say. Like you said, we
in some
need.
regards, it's not productive.
Yeah. But there is, like I said, I don't know. I feel something divine going on as well. There's a lot of negativity, but that's what they're showing us. That's what they want us to focus on. But I think the underneath, there's something divine going on. You know what I mean? I can feel that too.
100%.
Something.
We know that, but like Sister said, if you're not vibrating on that frequency, and this is something that I know deeply, if you're not vibrating on that frequency, you're going to miss that. You're going to miss whatever that divine intervention is, because you're too heavily laden down in the things of this world. You're too much in the physical. This is a spiritual war that's going on. People need to transcend their minds. That way, the jump to be able to get out of here will be a lot easier. I've got to go back to the signposts that our ancestors left for us, namely the scriptures, that's been hijacked and bastardized, but it's been revealed to us. You understand? And it says very clearly in the scripture, it's an instruction. It says, up out of her, my people, for she has become a habit. She meaning the West. Yeah. Up out of her, my people, for she has become a habitation of devils. She has become the cage of every hateful bird and the hole of every foul and unclean spirit. Out. That's what the scripture tells Out.
Yeah.
It doesn't say tarry and try to find solutions. It doesn't say, it says up out of her. It's foul, it's rotten, it's the whole of every contaminated spirit. It is the cage of every hateful bird. You get it?
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Yeah,
mean
it
that.
seems like it's that
That's what
time,
I'm saying.
and another thing people need to understand, like I said, my grandma said to me, like, don't you gotta think our parents came here, some of our grandparents came here with nothing. Like you could go anywhere in the world, like don't make it money that makes you not want to leave here, innit?
Okay, then.
Because our skills, because the Englishman or how we grown, we feel workless here because there's so much people coming here that's going harder. But when we go to other countries that are probably more behind than us, you'd be surprised the skills you have. You'd be surprised how skillful you are when
Brother,
you're put.
I put it to the test. I made the decision to leave this country within 7 days of me getting the light and the bolt that I needed from the spirit to say, get out of here. I did that within 7 days. Packed up the yard, did whatever I needed to do. Do you understand what I'm saying? 7 days. I didn't land, I didn't release life savings, anything like that. I didn't do that. I was watching the ride. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I knew that I needed to get out physically. So all I did was rent out my yard. That was a little buffer. You understand? And then we went over there and we got productive. Like-minded people landed with us. So we found that we weren't the only ones. We landed into a community of diasporans from Black America, Black Britain, and Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean who were pretty much known in the country as COVID refugees. We had no status. We had no stay. We weren't legal in the country. Everybody came up on a visitor's visa for 3 weeks and stayed. Do you understand? I opened up a patty shop because that's what I knew how to do. You understand? Make patties. It was popular. It's exactly what you're saying. You don't need to have a bag of money. There was a sister that we flew out.
And that's what you said. See what you said, yeah? Just to add to what you just said. When every nation comes here, what do they come with? Their food. That's the first thing. From you can cook, you're good. Take that cooking skill.
Everybody loves yard food. Exactly. Everybody loved yard food. And we weren't selling to Tanzanians. That I started to branch out a little bit just before I left. And Tanzanians were starting to get the flavors of Jamaican food. We were selling amongst ourselves. As a little community that had found each other out there. Because nobody came together. Do you understand? And it was a great example of what could be achieved. One of the sad things is that a lot of the mindsets and the backbiting, some of those things started to creep in because we're not cleansed, are we? You know? But it was something that was happening. And I feel that can be replicated time and time and time again. You don't have to stay here. Sister made a great point when she said that you if you believe it and you think it, it will manifest, it will happen. The universe will come and it will provide the resources, whatever you need for it to happen. I can't even tell you how I did it. I just know that I made the decision and it was on, you know? Everyone thought I was mad. My whole family was screaming at me because remember, I'm taking my 2 youngest children with me. Can you imagine? The dads were up in arms. You understand what I'm saying? But you don't want me to stay here in this lockdown situation. We don't know what's coming next. And to be honest with you, the climate, everything that's happening now with the war and the uprisings from the far right, I thought that was coming on the back of it because 40 years ago, that's what we were being taught was going to happen. We just didn't understand it was going to be in sort of gaps and stages. You understand? So we left. And I'll tell you one thing, we're here to tell the tale. We did not die, and we were living a damn sight better than anybody we knew in England. We've got to stop this fear and this programming that they've given us because it's in us. All those Tarzan films growing up of the little African people running around in the mud huts, all those charity adverts that they like to put on with the picnic with the flyer follow the picnic and the picnic got bang. You understand? And the child is starving. It's imprinted in our psyche, just like the white Jesus is. If I ask most people in this chat tonight, including you, brother, close your eyes very quickly. Don't think about it. Think of Jesus. Open your eyes. Tell me what you saw. You saw a flash of the white man. Do it.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's the name. It's the name that you're using. You're calling them by the wrong term, and the wrong name. That's
It's
why.
the image, brother. They
Mm.
understand these things. They understand symbolism. They understand
Nah,
image. They
fact.
understand neuro-linguistic programming, repetition. They know how to brainwash you. You know what I mean? That's what it
Mm.
is. Mm,
Studying and
that's what
that,
it is.
them and there.
Huh?
And I said that's what Hitler was studying and them type of things there from back then. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And check this. What happened to the Third Reich's greatest minds when Hitler fell? Where did they go?
Mm.
The
Well,
scientists, all the people that were doing these things for
America,
him.
America, they turned into the producers and
Exactly that, my brother. They went to
yeah.
America, and some of them sought refuge here amongst the aristocracy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, how many years later, who do you think is developing this technology and this madness, this agenda? It ain't nothing. Right now, YouTube, you could go on YouTube and just tap in Queen Elizabeth and the Queen Mother making Nazi salutes in 1936 on the lawn of Buckingham Palace. And you have to remember, these people have German roots. They're from the House of Saxe-Coburg. You understand? Let's take it deep, brother. But I'm not going to go into it tonight because it is going to get really deep. These people are Jewish, Jews from Germany. That's who the royal family are. You understand?
Yeah.
And they know their hand in their destruction of their own people. But there we go. I'm a conspiracy theorist. We're crazy because
I
everything you
must
hear is
say, yeah,
everything you
trust.
hear on the news is true. Yeah. But yes, bro, it's been a great conversation. I
Yeah,
don't know
man.
if I've
Thanks
put
for having me
well,
on. Thanks for having me on.
yeah, no, my brother, right now you're the only voice. Everybody go along to his Instagram and follow brother on at London under. In fact, you told brother because I'm bad at remembering things. I just know where you are. Find you.
Yeah, my Instagram is London underscore open underscore TV. Yeah, you can catch there and all that good stuff there.
Hold on, say it again. I'm gonna flash you across the screen. It's London
Underscore
underscore. Yeah.
open underscore TV.
All right, that's nice and simple. Underscore open TV. There we go. Right, for everyone who wants to follow brother, and please make sure that you do. It's coming up right now. Why is my oh, here we go. Yeah, there we go. Your socials up, brother. Follow brother on
Respect
Instagram.
for that, man.
Yeah,
Love for
man.
that,
Follow the
man.
brother on Instagram. He puts out a lot of positive content. We need more people like the brother in the community. And we need more brothers like you, brother, doing the kind of music that you do as well. You know? I, for
Oh,
one,
thank
am
you.
going to put that idea together, if I can, around projecting and bringing workshops to the street as opposed to waiting for young people to walk through the door, because I think that's rubbish.
Now,
It hasn't worked for how many years?
I got something that I want to talk to you offline still, but I
All
there.
right.
So I didn't want to say it online too much. But yeah,
Mhm.
a solution kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. We'll talk. We'll chop it up, my brother. Bless you, my brother, for gracing us with your mighty presence, King. And we'll catch up. Yeah?
All right, then. Yeah, man. Love, look after.
All right, blessed love. Send up a big love art. His time is up, love art for the brother, man. It's not often we get a king in here. Or we haven't had one for a long time, I should say. So bless you, my brother. Thank you. There you have it, people. Oh, God, what's happened there? I don't know what's wrong with my camera. I've been trying to turn it on, my people, throughout the I've been trying to turn it on throughout the conversation with me in London. That's why it was off most of the time, and it's really not happening. I don't know what's wrong with the camera on this particular thing. So I'm going to switch to my other camera, see if that works. Let's see what happens. Oh dear. I'm not sure what's going on with the cameras. Yes. So we've got some sort of camera. I can see myself like I'm on camera, but I can also see on my other screen, you have frozen. Right. But am I moving on the other one? Damn. I forgot. I'm there chatting away, people, because my other screen has failed. I don't know what's wrong with it. And forgetting that I haven't unmuted myself. What was I even saying? I was saying we've chopped it up. I don't feel that we've come to a solution, but there's never only one solution anyway. There's never only one solution. There's always going to be a multitude of solutions for different circumstances. But in my opinion, we need to get the hell out of here. I do not want to be trapped here in a war zone situation. And I mean real war zone situation of the likes that has not been seen since the Second World War, in a place where I cannot grow organic food to feed myself because Tesco's isn't stocked. I cannot create external heat and keep my family and myself warm. Food isn't, you must say crazy. Me not starving at the call. I'm going to go to somewhere where I can yam from the trees. I can drink from the stream. I can get fish from the sea. No matter what the circumstances, I can find a corner that has all of that. And we are blessed as Black British people because we have lands in a way that Black Americans don't have that. They came straight off the boat, straight there, and some of them were already settled there. Read the book They Came Before Columbus. You will see that there were Black Africans in America pre-slavery. Yeah? They got caught up in it once they started transporting Africans out of West Africa to settle them in America. But they didn't have anywhere else, and that tie was severed. The British were a little bit more smart. Yeah? Well, they weren't smart. They took slaves anyway and scattered them all across the world. But once America had its emancipation, they were all stuck there, really. The British that decided they wanted to settle there and then eventually became Americans, and the Africans that were stuck there as slaves. What was fortunate for us is that we were scattered into Brazil and the islands of the Caribbean and wherever else, even though that was Portuguese slavery, Brazil, same model. But we didn't get brought to England. And that was the most fortunate thing for us, because what it did was it left us in a hot climate where we could grow the same type of foods like cassava and okra and whatever we'd taken and smuggled little seeds into our pocket on the slave ship. And we were able to thrive and create Africa outside of Africa. So we have homelands as Black British people. Our parents, or, the very most distant relative for most Black British people will be their grandparents that have come from Africa or the Caribbean. So we're very fortunate in this season, and we need to make use of that. Get your citizenship. Get your Barbados, Jamaica, Ghana, Nigeria, whatever citizenship it is. Get it through your lineage and have somewhere to go when it all kicks off. Because believe me, brothers and sisters, it is going to kick off. It's going to kick off to the point where our focus will no longer be what we've been I've been trying to send a message so we can fix some of the ills from within for this season. Because you see the way we're divided, the way we're against each other, the atrocities that take place amongst us. We better get that shit sorted real quick. I've been doing this 4 years. 4 years since the pandemic. I've been doing this for this season. We need to get our shit together, brothers and sisters. And on that note, I'm going to leave you. His time is up. March 2024 is coming on the 18th of October. We are going to be in Birmingham. To be announced. I don't want to announce it too soon, but to be announced. It will be this month, but it's to be announced. And yeah, we're going to keep that moving, at least have a presence. It may well be the last March, because I lie to you not. I don't think I'm going to be here for much longer, my brothers and sisters. I really don't. I've got 1 or 2 little municipal things to get out of the way in terms of dates. I'm bailed to return. There's a couple of court dates and whatever. Once those decks are cleared, I think I'm gone. I think that's what's going to happen. So I will maybe continue as I started, and that will be across the seas, still trying to reach my people here in the UK. But we shall see. Blessed love, people. I shall see you next week. We're coming back with another case next week, and we will continue this conversation. It is going to be a theme that is weaved throughout whatever it is else we're talking about. So I shall see you guys next week. And yeah, have a wonderful weekend. I think the rest of it is going to be quite sunny. Let's enjoy it while we can and try to top up as much as we can in terms of melanin and good vibes. Blessed love, people. Blessed love.